Endless hot deserts seem lifeless at first glance. But among these sands, you can meet dangerous and sometimes creepy creatures. Some of them can only cause health problems, but some can stay in your memory forever. Let's get to know them, starting with dangerous ones and finishing with real nightmares. So, you're walking through a desert and see a big teddy bear with open hands. You understand that it's probably a mirage, but still, you come closer. You were right. It's not a plush toy, but a giant cactus. There's something strange about it. Thanks to some strange fluff, the branches resemble the arms of a teddy bear. However, this is not fluff, but thousands of thin needles, and they are the reason you shouldn't come closer. The cactus is called the jumping cholla, or teddy bear cholla. It grows in the desert areas of Arizona and in the northern part of Mexico. Don't worry, this cactus won't attack you, but it will cling to your skin or clothes if you touch it. Such a fur coat protects the cactus from animals, creates shade, and saves it from heat. The lateral branches are the most important parts of the plant as they carry out photosynthesis and accumulate a large amount of moisture inside. So, despite all the danger, the cactus can be helpful for desert wanderers. And the danger here is needles. If you look closer at them, you will see they have the shape of hooks. One touch, and hundreds of thorns are already in your finger. It's pretty difficult to get rid of them, and the needles cause unpleasant, painful sensations. But the coolest thing about this cactus is the way it reproduces. The plant clones itself in a new place. When animals and people pass the jumping cholla and touch it, the cactus gives them a small piece of itself, along with the needles. As soon as you throw this piece to the ground, it takes root and starts growing. The degree of danger is rising. The next monster from the desert is running toward us, and that is an ostrich. Many think these animals are cowards hiding their heads in the sand. You will most likely change your mind if you're unlucky enough to meet one. Usually, ostriches are not aggressive, but you should run if you come closer to their nest. On the other hand, you won't be able to do that because ostriches move at a speed of 43 miles per hour. You need a car to get away from them. They run and hit their enemy with their chests. There have been cases when ostriches attacked vans and caused significant damage to them. But the main danger these birds present is their powerful legs with sharp claws. They can deliver strong blows with them and even beat a prone opponent. So yes, if you see an ostrich in the distance, go the other way. This small spotted lizard lives underground almost all the time in the arid deserts of the southwestern US and northwestern Mexico. Sometimes, it goes outside to find lunch. It only seems cute, but in fact, it's a dangerous Gila monster. Its thick skin protects the reptile from hawks, coyotes, and other predators. But its main protection is its venom. Snakes and spiders inject their toxins using long, needle-like fangs. The Gila monster clamps down and chews the prey to spread the venom. And when it bites a person, it can keep its jaws closed for a long time. Getting rid of the animal is a tricky feat. People who have experienced the effects of the venom say it feels as if hot magma passes through the veins. Despite this, the lizard turned out to be useful for science. Doctors used its venom to create medicines for diabetes and obesity. The time has come. Now you're about to meet one of the creepiest creatures living in the desert. Be quiet and listen to the silence. Stand still. There's no one around. Suddenly, you hear some hissing coming from below. You lower your head and see it. A big yellow spider the size of a human palm with strong jaws and long legs hides in the shadow of your body. In horror, you run away from this monster, but it goes after you. It isn't easy to do it in this situation, but try to calm down. The creature isn't interested in you. It wants only your shadow to hide from the scorching sun. Anyway, it's better not to touch it. The powerful jaws of the camel spider can cause unpleasant sensations, to put it mildly. And, by the way, this creature isn't really a spider. Yeah, it belongs to the class of arachnids, but it's a separate species, Sulpagid. It likes to bite. It's fearless and pretty aggressive. The spider preys on insects, lizards, rodents, and small birds. It can also move at a speed of 10 miles per hour. For their small size, this is very fast. You need to be a professional athlete to run away from it. Most often, you can find camel spiders in the deserts of the Middle East, but they also live in Mexico and the southwestern US. These runners are nocturnal and try to avoid the sun during the day, so they are always hunting your shadow. By the way, they got their name because they often hide in the shadows of camels. You won't hide from them during the day, but they will also want to come after you at night, especially if you make a fire. Sulpugids always run to the light in the hope of eating something. Some species of these spiders make a hissing sound to scare their enemies away. Now, let's calm down for a second and leave the hot desert. We're going into the humid tropics of Tanzania. Under tree bark, fallen leaves, and in dark caves, you can meet one of the most terrifying creatures on Earth, a tailless whip scorpion. Imagine a big scorpion without a tail, with a flat body that looks like it has been pressed by something. It's similar to spiders, but has no venom glands and can't spin a web. This monster is silent and fast, but the scariest thing is its 2 front claws, twice as long as the creature itself. Any prey it catches will never escape. Life in a dark cave has spoiled its eyesight, so the whip scorpion tries to avoid sunlight. During molting, it climbs up to the ceiling and slowly comes out of its old skin. Imagine directing your flashlight there and seeing small cocoons out of which pale spiders with excessively long legs crawl. If you really meet it, be calm and slowly go away as far as possible. Be careful. The flat scorpion can crawl under your clothes in a second and bite you in the stomach. And that's not the worst part. Okay, this is a joke. This pretty guy is one of the shyest and most harmless creatures among spiders and scorpions. It's afraid of you and will never attack. Many consider it beautiful and keep whip scorpions in glass terrariums. If you want such a pet, carefully watch it so that it doesn't run away from its house. If it happens, it will be pretty challenging to catch it again. In a matter of moments, it can get under your bed or go through gaps in the floor. Then it'll go to your neighbor's apartment through a ventilation system and scare people there. Okay, how about one more scorpion? It's not as creepy as the other creatures in this video, but it's the most venomous scorpion in the USA. This is the Arizona bark scorpion. The problem is that you can see it in the desert, in your home, or in the yard. These dangerous venomous beasts crawl into rooms and often sting people. One time is enough to cause pain, similar to a bee sting, but someone with an allergy may experience paralysis, breathing problems, and other health issues.
Welcome, wildlife lovers! Today you will learn about strange mazes, mysterious round patterns, dangerous poisons, and extreme food, and love that makes you do something incredible. And all these things are united by fish. One small but very talented and dangerous marine creature, and its name is the pufferfish. Let's take a dip in the tropical and subtropical ocean waters. And what do we see here? A small pufferfish floats above the seabed and beats its fin against the sand. It's swimming one way, then the other, and its behavior seems very strange. But wait a minute, it's not crazy, it's drawing. This is a perfectly smooth circle with proportional maze-like patterns inside. The fish works hard and makes sure that all the lines of the shallow ditches lead to the central area. This pufferfish, the size of a human palm, paints a big picture, the size of an inflatable pool. First, this guy draws simple circles, then decorates them with these small geometric details and makes the circles look like a maze. It draws all these wavy lines with its fin, swimming up to them from different angles. After the drawing is finished, the pufferfish swims away and searches the seabed for pieces of shells and coral. It carefully selects small pieces, then brings them to the maze and then uses them to decorate it. It takes more than a week to do all the work. But what for? This fish is unlikely to be waiting for an art critic or an award for the best marine artist, right? Of course, it's not just a drawing. It has a practical purpose. Scientists have analyzed these circles using computer programs and suggested that the circular design of the pattern directs oxygen-rich water directly into the center of the maze. It doesn't even matter which way the undercurrents go. The moats inside the ring guide and help the fresh water pool in the center. Okay, but again, what for? Oh, many of us are willing to go above and beyond for it. It makes us suffer and feel great joy. This is the meaning of our life. This is the cause we were born for. The pufferfish creates these drawings because of love. This maze is not just a drawing. It's a nest where a female pufferfish lays eggs. But before doing this, she evaluates the male's work. If she's not happy, she swims away. If she likes the drawing, she and the male create a family. The water in the center of the maze helps pufferfish eggs grow well. But they grow under the care of the male, as the female swims away immediately after laying the eggs. The pufferfish takes care of the offspring, guarding the nest until they hatch. Underwater currents sweep its work away gradually, but it doesn't matter to him. The fish will proceed to create a new work of art. But one question arises. The nest has no walls. It's just patterns in the sand. The pufferfish doesn't make it somewhere in a sheltered place, like under the reefs. No, it's out there in an open area where many predatory fish swim. How does this little guy manage to protect its offspring from them? The pufferfish is not as harmless as it seems at first glance. Its body contains one of the most potent toxins on Earth, called tetrodotoxin, or simply TTX. This toxin accumulates in the liver of the fish, in its gonads, skin, and intestines. When it enters the human body, it connects to nerve cells and simply blocks them. That is, the nervous system can't transmit signals to the brain, causing paralysis. You can't move your limbs and your lungs stop functioning. Therefore, it's better not to offend the small fish. Not only scuba divers, but also predators know this fact. They sense TTX and don't dare to swim up to the pufferfish. Interestingly, the toxin doesn't affect the pufferfish itself thanks to its innate genetic mutation. This mutation prevents the toxin from connecting to the fish's nerve cells and, thus, prevents it from getting paralyzed. By the way, some species of snakes and toads have such mutations too. But how does the pufferfish generate TTX in its body? It's not born poisonous, it produces the toxin through its diet. It goes like this. Plankton eat bacteria that produce TTX. Then snails and worms eat these plankton. The pufferfish then eats those worms and snails. Over time, the fish accumulates this toxin in the liver and ovaries, but it also permeates other parts of its body, depending on the type of pufferfish. Predators avoid not only these fish, but also all kinds of food that are filled with this toxin. That's why pufferfish can easily find food and are not afraid of anyone. And this is also the reason why it's so easy for them to guard their offspring. Interestingly, pufferfish males love the smell of the toxin, and females smear their eggs with this substance to scare off enemies. And while the whole ocean is afraid to approach the pufferfish, one creature is trying to catch it to eat. And this creature is human. Even if you've never heard of the pufferfish before watching this video, you've probably heard of fugu, a dangerous dish prepared by highly qualified chefs. Cooked fugu is one of the most dangerous dishes on the planet. There have been cases when people paid a lot of money to try this delicacy, but didn't survive this experience because the chef made a mistake. Tetrodotoxin is colorless and odorless, and even when you cook fish at high temperatures, the poison doesn't lose its properties. But this only applies to those fish that live in the ocean. On special farms where pufferfish don't eat toxin-filled food, they're completely harmless. So if someone offers you a fugu dish, always ask where the chef got the pufferfish from. Most often, People get poisoned by this fish when they come to eateries where so-called chefs cook the dish incorrectly. Don't do that. There are specialized restaurants where only trained professionals work. Such chefs undergo rigorous training and take an exam to show that they can safely cook this dish. They make it hundreds of times before being allowed to serve it to people. Such training costs thousands of dollars, so it's no wonder that fugu is so expensive. One wrong knife movement and the dish is infused with poison. The main goal during the preparation of this dish is to remove all traces of the toxin. It permeates almost the entire body except the meat itself. Cooks, like jewelers, should carefully separate this meat from the internal organs. The knife mustn't touch the liver and ovaries, which contain the largest amount of the poison. If the toxin drips onto the meat, the fish is spoiled. It seems simple, but chefs train for 4 to 6 years to learn to cook this dish properly. Then, when the fugu is ready, the chef carefully spreads out raw, thin slices of meat in the shape of a flower. The dish is served mainly in the winter because pufferfish become fatter during the cold season, so it has more meat. Chefs spend years training to cut it properly. Restaurants spend a lot of money on teaching them. And even after that, this fish is still dangerous to eat. So, is it worth it? People say the fish has a very delicate jelly-like texture and doesn't have that typical fishy smell. In short, it's a real delicacy. But don't try to cook it on your own. You're definitely not gonna make it. If you start feeling any tingling, numbness, or even paralysis while eating fugu, get help right away. You still have a chance to survive if you've consumed just a tiny dose of poison. Remember, there's no antidote, so think a few times before agreeing to eat this delicacy, even in certified restaurants. This amazing story, dear viewers, starts with a maze on the seabed and ends in an expensive restaurant. This little fish, which tries its best to make a beautiful nest, hardly expects that somewhere up there, people would want to spend thousands of dollars to taste it.
You're walking in Rio de Janeiro and you see this. That's weird. Maybe some kids did it. You keep walking, but now some strange guys are watching you, like you don't belong there. Your gut screams, run, so you do. Turns out you were right. Now, most of the time, shoes on power lines are just, well, shoes. They might be up there as some part of a game. I mean, some people throw them up just because someone else did it first. But sometimes it's a warning, especially in areas controlled by bad guys or in neighborhoods known to be unsafe. The shoes can mark territory or hint that some shady activity is going on there, but police usually say that's just an urban legend. True or not, it's probably a good idea to leave if you see shoes hanging like that. Stay alert and use caution, but whatever you do, don't try to take them down yourself. That's really dangerous. They can be way up high or even electrified. Instead, call the local authorities. They'll know what to do. This is a totally different situation from finding colored balls hanging on power lines. Those strange spheres actually have a very important purpose, saving lives, like yours or mine. They're called marker balls or visibility markers. Their job is to show where power lines are so low-flying aircraft can steer clear of them. That's why they have bright colors like orange, yellow, or white. But which color they use also depends on the background. For example, in snowy mountain areas, you might see orange, so it stands out against the white. And in green landscapes, white is often used so pilots can see them clearly. Speaking of green spaces, have you ever noticed a weird piece of metal wrapped around a tree? Those are called baffles, and no, they're not there to hold the tree together. They're there to protect both the tree and our homes. The slick surface of the metal makes it tough for small creatures to climb the tree. That way, they can't nest there or reach the higher branches that lead straight to your roof or attic. But does it actually work? Well, that's up for debate. Clever squirrels usually find a way around these tricks. Still, many experts think it's worth a try. Now, if you spot a purple paint mark, that means one thing. Keep out. That's right. If you see a tree trunk, a fence post, or even some random surface painted purple, it's the landowner's way of saying no trespassing. Another get-out sign is finding a USB phone charger in a hotel room. More specifically, one of those little charging cubes. Some of them don't just charge your phone, they also film you. Don't believe me? Just search USB cube camera on Google, and you'll find dozens of models. They're often sold as spy devices, since they let people secretly record others. So if you ever find one in your hotel room, don't take chances, leave right away, and report it to the authorities. Now, finding chewed gum stuck to your car is gross, sure, but it could mean that you've been targeted. Some people with bad intentions might use gum as a sign to mark vehicles, like showing that it has valuables inside or it looks easy to break into. So the best thing you can do is avoid giving them the chance. Park in well-lit, busy, and secure areas whenever you can. Something similar happens if you find a disgusting pile of kidney beans on your doorstep. Two possibilities: it's either a weird Halloween prank, or your house could be endangered. People with bad intentions may use it to figure out if anyone's home. If the mess stays there for a couple of days, they assume no one's around, and that's when they might decide to break in. So if you ever see something like that, clean it up right away. Speaking of hidden signs, did you know that itinerant workers used to leave secret messages for each other? Meet the hobo code. So hobos were traveling workers in the US, and they moved around from town to town during hard times. No one knows exactly where or how their code started, but it became really popular in the early 1900s. Back then, mysterious symbols like these were scratched into fences, sidewalks, or even houses. Some signs were easy to figure out, since they looked a lot like their meaning. For example, a drawing of a top hat meant a wealthy man lives here. Simple, right? But others, well, you'd probably just scratch your head. Luckily, hobos shared the meanings during their brief encounters, like a secret club with its own language. And that's probably how the roughly 50 known symbols were passed along. The whole idea was to help each other out, like showing the way to clean water or a hot meal. 3 lines, for example, meant a good place to camp. And a cat was code for a kind woman lives here. But some of them were warnings. This sign, for example, supposedly meant strictly hostile town, get out as quickly as possible. Hopefully nobody missed the memo on that one. Weird symbols on the streets aren't just a thing of the past. Take a walk and really look around. You'll spot spray-painted codes hiding in plain sight on roads and sidewalks. But these days, they serve a much more practical purpose. You see, many companies have the right to dig up roads and highways, and knowing what lies beneath the surface is super important, because one mistake can be both dangerous and expensive. That's where these codes come in. Red lines, for example, mark where electricity cables run. White paint is used more like a sticky note. It can show advice, measurements, or instructions for where road markings should go. What looks like an incomplete infinity sign, for example, can show where a road scheme starts or ends. There's also this mark that looks like a crocodile's open mouth. It marks where a painted line should separate cars going in opposite directions. Now, in Stockholm, you might notice something curious. Look closely at the buildings in the Old Town, and you'll spot a phoenix rising from the flames above a doorway. Across the street, there's another, and then another. Pretty soon, you realize they're everywhere. These phoenix symbols date back to the 1740s, and they had one purpose: to show that the building was insured against fire. Back then, if flames spread through the city, the brigade would rush first to the houses marked with the phoenix. That's not how it works anymore, but the symbols are still there today. Now, in Kyoto, you might notice red buckets sitting in front of houses, and they're filled with water. So if a fire breaks out, the whole neighborhood can grab the buckets and work together to put it out. This actually makes a lot of sense, because fires can spread quickly in areas where wooden houses stand so close together. Of course, they have fire extinguishers too, modern ones, but the buckets have become such a tradition that you'll often see them placed right next to the extinguishers. From hidden codes on the streets to bakeries. That's right, these colorful twist ties that keep our bread protected and fresh actually hide a little secret. Each color shows the day of the week the bread was baked. Blue means Monday, green is Tuesday, red is Thursday, white is Friday, and yellow is Saturday. And yep, Wednesday and Sunday are skipped because bakers need days off too. Before you think, I'm never going to memorize that, don't worry. The colors actually go in alphabetical order, so it's easy to remember. Sure, not every bakery does it, but when they do, it's an easy way to get the freshest bread on the shelf. So, at the end of the day, the world around us is full of little signs, and knowing them could actually be a lifesaver. Don't forget to share this video with your friends so they can stay safe in tricky situations, or at the very least, become absolute experts at picking out the best bread.
It might seem totally innocent, but this pink slime in your house is actually a huge red flag. If you don't do anything about it, it can make you seriously sick. People call this uninvited tenant pink mold, although it's bacteria, not fungus. These little monsters prefer warm, wet environments and like to have fatty substances like soap residue or shampoo for lunch. All this makes your shower, tub, toilet, the shower curtain, and other places around your bathroom their dream home. Now, before you run to the bathroom and scrub the pink mold until you drop, you need to know it's not a threat to everyone. If you aren't in the risk group, the pink slime could give you some really unpleasant sensations in your eyes. But it's a way bigger threat to people whose immune systems isn't the strongest, like kids, the elderly, those who have chronic illnesses, and those who already take strong meds. For them, the bacteria can cause some serious infections in various parts of the body, including the chest, gut, and urinary tract. It's rather persistent, and you can't easily take it down with antibiotics. And if it enters the bloodstream, the consequences can be really serious, to the point that it could take your life. Once it's settled in your bathroom, the pink slime is really hard to get rid of. It has developed an immunity to many disinfectants and can even form biofilms, which only complicates things. So the best you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones from all this is to not let pink slime settle in your bathroom. Keep it dry and well ventilated. Keep the exhaust fan on or open a window during every shower and bath. And for at least 20 minutes after you take it to keep humidity under control. Clean your bathroom at least once a week. And when I say clean it, I also mean places you've possibly never cleaned before, like your shower curtain. Launder it according to its label instructions with an antibacterial detergent. Hang it up to dry completely before you put it back in the shower, and replace it every now and then. If you already have that nasty pink slime in your bathroom, you can remove it with several solutions. For mild cases, try a mix of 1 part vinegar to 1 part water with a few drops of dish soap. If that doesn't work for you, try cleaning the slime with undiluted vinegar, a bleach solution, or a bleach-based bathroom cleaner. And if the amount is really over the top, make a paste from baking soda and dish soap and rub it in. Once you get rid of the unwanted tenant, remember to keep the bathroom clean for your own good. Another guest you'd rather not host is black soot that appears on your walls and ceilings, seemingly out of nowhere. This powder forms when carbon-based materials like candles or gas don't burn completely. It mostly settles near light switches, outlets, and the base of doors. It might seem harmless and just ruin the aesthetics of your house, but it can actually do a lot of harm to your health too, and cause asthma, heart problems, and other more serious problems. Just like with the pink slime, infants, the elderly, and those with existing health conditions are especially at risk. To prevent black soot from forming, you might want to reconsider your choice of candles. Opt for the best ones, high-quality candles that do not soften so easily. Use candles with single wicks, as multi-wick candles produce more soot. Scented candles could also be a problem, as they contain volatile aromatic components, some of which may not burn completely. After burning candles in your house, make sure to ventilate it well. In fact, unless you're a hardcore real candle fan, try the LED alternative. Also, check out your heating gadgets every now and then. Furnaces, especially gas ones, often cause black soot if they aren't well maintained. If you already have black soot, try using a dry cleaning sponge to absorb what you can from the mess. These sponges are more gentle on your surfaces, so you shouldn't ruin paint or finishes. If it doesn't work, try adding a small amount of rubbing spirits to your cloths. And if that fails too, you might want to call the professionals. Have you ever noticed some weird white crystals around batteries you use to power your toys, electronics, and household appliances? It's a clear sign the battery is damaged and liquid battery acid is leaking out and putting you at risk. If this acid gets onto your skin, it can give you some serious problems, such as chemical burns. And it's even worse in the case of your eyes. It could make your eyesight worse, or even cause blindness. If you accidentally inhale it, there will be serious respiratory issues. Batteries leak for all sorts of reasons, from damage when you drop them to super hot or cold temperatures, or just poor quality. To avoid all this, choose good batteries, preferably lithium. Keep them in a cool, dry place and don't let them expire. If you notice bulging or corrosion in the casing, get rid of that battery.
Bye-bye.
In case precautions didn't help and your alkaline battery is leaking, put on gloves and goggles and neutralize it with vinegar. Scrub the battery gently with a toothbrush, then wipe with a damp cloth. Get rid of residue in a sealed bag. If your house suddenly smells like fish and you aren't cooking it for lunch, it's time to call an electrician. This smell of fish or burning plastic near the outlets is a sign that the wiring insulation is beginning to melt, as there's an electrical fire just beginning. Those fires cause many house fires and plenty of damage to businesses. Electrical fires usually happen when there are some problems with the wiring in the building. If you have any ungrounded outlets, overloaded circuits, or too many extension cords, any of those could be the culprit. When lights flicker, or if you hear a low buzzing sound when certain lights are turned on, this may also mean an overloaded circuit. To prevent electrical fires from happening, make sure to get your wiring checked every 3 to 5 years. Make sure that all the appliances in a building are the right voltage for an outlet, and never plug an extension cord into another extension cord. Always keep flammables like cooking oils or fabric away from outlets. Use surge protectors to protect your devices from unexpected power surges from outlets. Unplug devices when you don't use them so they don't overheat. If your bathroom mirror turns into a blurry mess after a hot shower every now and then, it isn't a big deal. But if it keeps happening every time someone showers, it can mess up your mirror permanently. Over time, those tiny water droplets can eat away at the back of the mirror, leaving ugly black spots that won't come off. That's called desilvering. And once it's bad enough, you'll probably need a new mirror. But wait, it gets worse. All that trapped moisture doesn't just disappear. If it sticks around, it can cause paint to peel, wallpaper to bubble or flake, and water stains to show up on the ceiling. Mold is an even more concerning consequence of all this. It loves damp places, and it can start as tiny dark spots on the walls or in the grout, or even hide inside the walls where you can't see it. Once it starts growing, it can mess with your health and make you cough, sneeze, feel stuffy, or aggravate allergies and asthma. The good news is that you can stop this from happening. Open the bathroom window if you have one. Turn on the bathroom fan every time you shower. Wipe the mirror with a towel or squeegee as soon as it fogs up. And if you're still having issues, try a small dehumidifier in the bathroom. The sooner you get rid of that moisture, the better off your mirror, bathroom, and lungs will be. Zoom into Los Angeles on Google Earth and things start to get strange real fast. Just off the side of the freeway, you'll see the word HELP spelled out in massive white letters. Not once, not twice, but several times. These bone-chilling messages got people on Reddit spiraling with theories. Some say it's a desperate cry for help from someone trapped. Others think it might be a form of digital graffiti, or even a prank. But what makes it even creepier is that nobody has officially claimed responsibility. No urban artists, no city workers, But before you think that maybe someone still needs our help, authorities have assured that's not the case. After all, those markings have been up there for about a year. Head over to Valencia, Spain, and you'll see something straight out of a twisted fairy tale. A giant figure sprawled across the ground, like it crash-landed right in the middle of a plaza. But this isn't a fallen titan. It's Gulliver Park, and this massive figure, stretching roughly 230 feet long, was designed to look like the character from Jonathan Swift's novel. So, does it look like him? Hard to say, but one thing's for sure. From above, this Spanish Gulliver is downright eerie. Let's stay with the Giants theme a little longer, but this time things get weirder. Deep in the dense forests of Brazil, there's a lagoon shaped exactly like a human body. From above, it looks like someone carved the outline of a person and then filled it with water. It has everything: 2 arms, 2 legs, even a head. So yeah, it's definitely not natural, but why did someone construct it? Well, we may never know, because this place isn't open to the public, and the only way to see it is from the sky. In southern Algeria, we can find a geological formation that looks like an eye. It's so stunning that it seems to belong on another planet. The orange and blue colors are so intense and unnatural looking that people online have wondered if this is a volcano, a meteor impact site, or even some kind of extraterrestrial base. But the mystery remains. Speaking of stunning and kind of creepy formations, let's fly over to the United States. More precisely, right in the middle of Yellowstone National Park. The Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest hot spring in the country, and from above, it's unreal. A glowing center of bright turquoise fades into rings of neon green, yellow, and orange. But those intense colors actually come from heat-loving bacteria that thrive around the boiling water. It's definitely beautiful, but also the kind of place you wouldn't want to fall into. This spring reaches temperatures of up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. You probably know the Nazca lines, those massive geoglyphs etched into the desert of southern Peru showing animals, shapes, and symbols that date back over 2,000 years. But now, can someone explain what this giant crab is doing in Chile? Yep. Google Earth reveals what looks like a huge crab carved into the desert floor. Claws up, legs out, and everything. No official explanation, no tourist signs, no ancient civilization credited with it. It's just there. And it's big. Sometimes, huge animals aren't drawn into the sand. They're sculpted in full-on 3D. In Wales, if you open up Google Earth and zoom in on a former coal mining site in Caerphilly, you'll find something massive carved right into the hillside. It's called Sultan the Pit Pony, a sculpture longer than 2 football fields. From above, it looks powerful, but it's also a little haunting. Let's explore Mount Rushmore using satellite images. Switch on 3D view and wait, what's that? Is that a door? Well, apparently, not everything mysterious on Google Earth is out in the open. Tucked away behind those giant faces, there's a hidden entrance carved right into the mountain. It leads to what's known as the Hall of Records, a sealed-off chamber that most people don't even know exists. You can't visit it, and it's not part of any official tour. Sometimes our brains play tricks on us. It's called pareidolia. That weird little glitch where we see faces in clouds, sockets, or even a slice of burnt toast. And once you know what it is, you'll start spotting it everywhere. Like this next one, an island in the Red Sea that, from above, looks exactly like a human face with a cool beard. Here's another example of pareidolia. And this one's chilling, literally. In Antarctica, one of the most remote places on Earth, you can spot what looks like a massive face carved into the ice. It's probably just a coincidence of shadows, ice, and erosion, but still, it's pretty creepy. We also have this other image. At first, it looks like a deep crack in the ice, but if you pay close attention, right in the middle of it, there's what looks like an eerie eye staring straight at us. It's as if a giant is trapped beneath the surface, just waiting to be set free. And because Antarctica clearly loves keeping secrets, here's another one. A perfect square. Okay, an almost perfect square located in the middle of nowhere. Straight edges, clean corners, and totally out of place in the middle of all that ice. There are no nearby buildings, no signs of human activity, and no obvious reason for it to exist. Some people think it might be the entrance to something hidden underground. Others say it's just ice shifting in a weird way. But when you see it on Google Earth, it's hard not to feel like it was made on purpose. From far away, this scenario looks like a bunch of scattered rocks. Maybe some old ruins, nothing too unusual. But zoom in, and the scene gets much more macabre. This is the end of the world cinema. Tucked away in the middle of the Sinai Desert in Egypt. It's a full outdoor movie theater with rows of wooden seats and all. According to reports, a Frenchman tried to set up a theater experience in the middle of nowhere back in the 90s, but it never worked. But now it just sits there, sun-faded and abandoned, like it's part of a post-apocalyptic film. You can see 3 nearly perfect circles, and they look like giant whirlpools. Some people online say it's just the trail left by a boat. Others think it might be debris. But the most fun theory by far is that this is a giant squid. Do you see it too? Let's keep things strange. Somewhere off the coast in the Caribbean Sea, on a tiny island with no name, there's a helicopter pad. Just that, nothing else. Just a big white H in the middle of the greenery, like someone's waiting for a pickup that never came. There's no record of who built it, and it doesn't seem connected to anything nearby. One of the theories is that scientists might have flown out there a couple of times to study the atoll and its reef. Mamma mia! Did an alien spaceship crash into a shopping mall in Italy? Well, that's what it looks like. Type these coordinates and switch to Street View. Walk around a bit and you'll spot it. A giant green extraterrestrial standing outside a building in Pomezia, Italy. Turn the corner and there it is, a silver spaceship bursting straight out of the mall like it just crash-landed through the wall. Okay, it's just decoration, but still, it's one of the most unexpected sights you can stumble across on Google Earth. The movie Smile proved to us that happy faces can be seriously eerie. And if they're massive and hidden deep in the forest, that pretty much seals the deal. On Google Earth, in the middle of a dense, isolated area, you can spot a giant smiley face. A full circle, 2 eyes, and a curved mouth. Okay, it's definitely creepy. But hey, at least we tried to end on a positive note.
See this weird grayish lump lying on the ground and steaming? Well, what are you waiting for? Run as fast as you can. It can burst right into your face at any moment, leading to horrifying consequences. A disaster is unfolding in front of your eyes. At first, the ground starts trembling. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the valley. Then, boom, the volcano explodes, hurling glowing rocks high into the sky. Among them is a blob of molten rock, fresh from the Earth's fiery depths. As it's soaring, the blob begins to change. The cold air wraps around it, hardening its outer layer, while the inside remains hot and gooey. Some of its neighbors are different. Some have gas bubbles trapped inside. Others have solid rock cores, and a few stretch into long, twisting ribbons. The biggest of these flying blobs are as large as a small car. For 10 long seconds, the lava blob is flying and twisting and tumbling. Below, people begin to realize the extent of the danger and start scattering. It's useless. Flying blobs can travel for miles, up to 6 miles away to be precise. Then the moment comes. The lava blob slams into the ground. Some of its smaller companions have cooled completely and landed with a thud, but this one is still burning inside a crystalline container called a bleb. As it strikes the earth, its hard shell cracks and molten lava oozes out, sizzling and steaming, spreading out like a giant fiery pancake. The eruption is past, but the danger remains. Lava bombs, though fascinating, are among the most dangerous tricks of a volcano. The insides of the biggest blobs remain blazing hot, still bubbling with energy. They're not just warm, the temperature inside reaches hundreds of degrees. If one of these fiery projectiles struck a person, it would crush them instantly. Even worse, lava bombs can blow apart or cause secondary explosions in 2 cases. If the lava bomb has volcanic gases, like water vapor, CO2, or sulfur gases inside, rapid cooling can trap them. When pressure builds up, it can cause the bomb to burst. Or, if a hot lava bomb lands in water or ice, the sudden temperature change can create steam explosions, sending debris flying. Lava blebs come in different shapes, depending on how fluid the magma was when it was ejected. Their forms are also shaped by how they travel through the air and how they land. Ribbon blebs form when very fluid magma is thrown out in long, stretchy blobs. As these break apart in midair, they create thin ribbon-like fragments that land intact. These blebs often have fluted textures and small air pockets inside. Spherical blebs also come from highly fluid magma, but instead of forming ribbons, they're shaped by surface tension, which pulls them into nearly perfect spheres as they cool. Spindle or almond-shaped lava blebs start off similarly to spherical ones, but as they spin through the air, they stretch into elongated football-like shapes. One size usually ends up smoother than the other, showing how it moved when it fell. Cowpie blebs, yep, the real name for them, form when very liquid lava doesn't cool before hitting the ground. Instead of solidifying in the air, it lands while still molten and flattens on impact, spreading out in irregular roundish shapes that resemble, cow patties. There are also bread crust blebs that occur when the outer layer of a lava bomb hardens during flight while the inside remains hot. As the interior expands, it cracks the hardened shell, giving it a texture similar to the crust of a loaf of bread. Cored lava bombs have a hardened shell surrounding an inner core made of older volcanic rock, pieces from an earlier eruption, or even fragments of the surrounding landscape. Whatever shape a lava blob takes, you should watch out for one during a volcanic eruption, even if you're miles away from the epicenter. But lava blebs aren't the only danger you should watch for when wandering around volcanoes. Sometimes, when small drops of lava are thrown from a volcano, they can stretch into thin, elongated shapes as they cool. If they form small, teardrop-like shapes, they're called Pele's tears, after the Hawaiian volcano and fire deity. If they become longer, thinner strands, they're known as Pele's hair. In this case, you can notice something that looks like golden mats of fine hair covering the ground. These aren't strands of human or animal hair, but delicate threads of volcanic glass. They form when gas bubbles in lava burst, stretching the molten rock into long hair-like fibers. Pele's hair can be incredibly thin, sometimes just 1 micron thick. But at the same time, they can reach up to a couple of feet in length. They are so lightweight that the wind can easily carry them through the air. Later, they settle in low-lying areas, sometimes piling up in thick layers. Now, despite their delicate appearance, these strands are actually tiny pieces of glass. They are sharp and brittle, and if they get on the skin, they can cause irritation. If they get into the eyes, they can be even more dangerous. That's why it's very important to be cautious when around Pele's hair. Now imagine a tidal wave of fire and ash racing down a mountain with unstoppable force. This is a pyroclastic flow, a fast-moving surge of scorching gases and shattered rock that buries everything in its path. These flows can stretch for miles, moving as fast as a racing car and reaching temperatures hot enough to melt metal, up to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Pyroclastic flows strike without warning. The collapse of an erupting volcano's towering ash column or a lava dome, a massive plug of hardened lava sitting at the volcano's mouth, can easily trigger one. The moment it gives way, the fiery avalanche is unleashed, rolling down the slopes with terrifying speed, vaporizing forests, flattening villages, and incinerating anything caught in its path. There is no outrunning of pyroclastic flow. It is the most fatal force a volcano can unleash, responsible for claiming over 90,000 lives in the past 400 years. That's 1/3 of all volcanic fatalities. Not only do these flows burn, crush, and suffocate, but they also destroy buildings, bridges, and anything human-made. While scientists can predict the most likely paths, usually along valleys, history has shown that powerful flows can jump bridges, sweep over hills, and strike areas we once thought were safe. Volcanic lightning isn't as dangerous as a pyroclastic flow, but it's a breathtaking view. It forms only in the thick ash-filled clouds that erupt from certain volcanoes. These towering columns, called volcanic plumes, shoot up into the sky when a volcano releases massive amounts of ash. Not all volcanoes create these plumes. That's why volcanic lightning is rare. For example, the volcanoes in Hawaii mostly erupt with flowing lava rather than thick clouds of ash, so they almost never produce volcanic lightning. Now look at these tiny ash particles. Before an eruption, they're squeezed together inside the volcano under extreme pressure. But when they burst into the open air, they collide and rub against each other in a process known as friction. This friction charges the particles, just like when you rub a balloon on your hair. As these charged particles rise into the air, they start to separate. Positive charges move one way, and negative charges move in a different direction. When the difference in charge becomes too great, the energy bursts free as a lightning bolt, cutting through the volcanic plume. Some of the most devastating consequences of a volcanic eruption are lahars. A lahar is a powerful, fast-moving river of mud, ash, and rock that rushes down the slopes of a volcano, destroying everything in front of it. These terrifying mud flows form when heavy rains mix with loose volcanic debris. When lahars sometimes happen during an eruption, they can also strike without warning. This makes them especially dangerous. Like pyroclastic flows, lahars move fast, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles. They can bury entire towns, sweep away bridges, and wipe out roads, leaving behind a deep layer of mud and rock. One of the most devastating lahar disasters happened in Colombia in 1985 when the Nevado del Ruiz volcano unleashed a mudflow that buried the town of Armero, taking the lives of over 23,000 people. Another tragic event occurred in the 1990s when lahars and pyroclastic flows from the Soufriere Hills volcano wiped out the capital city of Plymouth, causing $500 million in damage. There's a man in England who bought a couch for his new home, unaware that the furniture would threaten his health and potentially his life. How could that happen? Well, 2 days after the purchase, Andrew Wolfe discovered red marks all over his body. Each time he lay down on his new couch to rest, his condition worsened. It didn't take him long to realize that his new sofa was infested with fleas or bed bugs. Although Andrew bought the couch at a discount, paying only half the original price, his attempt to save money backfired. He ended up incurring expenses for pest control, disposing of various household items, and enduring a frustrating ordeal. The company that sold him the couch agreed to issue a refund, but denied his request for compensation, arguing that he was aware the couch was a returned item and had previously been in another home. Well, if you've ever felt a mysterious sting while lounging on your couch, you might be sharing your space with some unwelcome pests. Sometimes spotting them can be impossible, and the sad news is that they're experts at multiplying. You might wonder why your couch of all places. Well, simply put, it's a cozy haven for them. And if you ever enjoy snacks like chips or popcorn on the couch, let's be real, who doesn't? You're also creating an endless buffet for them. Now sometimes removing the cushions from the couch and vacuuming all the gaps can solve the problem. But if you have an older couch that's super dirty, just vacuuming it won't do the trick. Bedbugs are mostly active at night, so they could attack you while you sleep. They feed for up to 10 minutes until they get full. The bites look different on everyone, and the reaction can be severe. Remember, these small but fierce critters can survive without food for several months. So, if you're planning to store your furniture in the garage for a while, make sure to give your couch a good cleaning and vacuuming. Then seal it up in a zippered cover. Even if there are bed bugs still hiding inside, they'll eventually kick the bucket without a source of food and won't be able to reproduce. Meanwhile, fleas spend most of their time together in crevices in the walls of your home. Did you know that these little guys remember the dinosaurs? They were around for at least 165 million years. They had to be larger in size and have much larger mouth parts to get through the thick skin of dinos. When they bite, they mostly go for legs and ankles. Then the marks from their shenanigans can stay sore and itchy for a whole week. You won't spot them hopping from crevice to crevice, but you can find their droppings around your couch legs and underneath the couch itself. If you see them, you can try treating them with some salt for a couple of days or just call a professional. Now, cockroaches prefer to live in the kitchen, but if they see that you've started a free canteen in the living room, they'll make an exception for you. There are so many of them that some surveys say they live in up to 98% of homes in urban areas, mostly unnoticed. They also like to party at night, and if you manage to spot them, you can serve them with a custom treat. Take an empty glass bottle and line the bottom of it with some maple syrup. Put some cooking oil on the top of the bottle. This trap will work like a cockroach magnet, and they'll get stuck in it forever. And then you can decide what to do with a bottle full of bugs. Moths are super sneaky, so you won't see them on your sofa. But you will feel some weird movement if they're inside. They love wool and other natural fibers, but even if your couch isn't that exquisite, they'll still move in there if there are food stains on it. If you see holes in the fabric, webbing around the legs or frame of a sofa, or moth larvae, you'll know they've moved in with you. There are around 160,000 species of moths in the world, and only 150 species that can sting. They really can't bite when they're mature because they grow a long, strong-shaped orifice. But caterpillars don't have that feature and can give you a tough time. And then there's this horror scenario where you lay down and a couch moth just crawls into your ear. It happened to a guy in America who became an internet sensation. He felt the moth near his ear and wanted to smack him, but the insect went inside. His friends helped the guy with a pair of tweezers. It turned out that the moth was 1 inch long and still perfectly fine. So both the guy and the moth got lucky that time. But experts don't recommend using objects to remove the moth. You need to tilt your head to let gravity do the job and lure the moth with some light from the outside. And of course, you need to keep your furniture clean to make it less attractive to those playful creatures. Now, holes in your textiles are one thing, but throwing away all the food from your pantry is like a next-level offense. Pantry moths love to eat dry foods, like cereal, flour, rice, and grains, and they can sneak into your pantry with groceries, pet food, or birdseed that's already infested. When they hatch, they can spread to other food in your pantry. A female pantry moth is super productive and can lay about 400 eggs after mating. When the eggs hatch, the larvae start eating your food and spinning sticky webs. They can even chew through thin cardboard boxes and plastic bags, so closed packages don't always keep them out. You might see their droppings, webs, or even tiny holes in your food packaging. These are obvious signs of an infestation. Pantry moths aren't harmful to people, they're just annoying and ruin food. But some types, like the cinnabar moth, are poisonous. They have bright red and black colors, which warn predators to stay away. If you feel like your pantry might have moths right now, pause the video and inspect it well. Did you find someone who shouldn't be there? Well, try storing your flour, baking mixes, oatmeal, and nuts in the freezer, or at least freeze them for 3 days before moving them back to your pantry. Cold treatment will help you get rid of any larvae that might be present in the foods that you brought home from the store. Now, just to be on the safe side, try this white vinegar and hot water solution I tested myself. Mix them in equal amounts and wipe down your pantry from top to bottom, including both sides of shelves, corners, baseboards, floor, and storage containers. All the moths will urgently go elsewhere. As one final precaution, you can hang sticky fly paper in the pantry. If you add a little bit of fish oil to it, all the moths still hiding in there won't be able to resist the temptation. Now here's a little riddle. What is tiny, has up to 177 pairs of legs, and can scare a 40-year-old man more than any horror movie? Yep, it's a centipede running around your living room. And before you go for the slipper to eliminate the threat, remember, it's your friend. Centipedes can bite, but they hardly ever do it. They don't make nests or webs, they don't transmit anything dangerous, and they don't damage your home or beloved objects. And they work for you, for free, as natural pest control. They eat roaches, flies, termites, moths, and silverfish. So instead of taking their lives, try relocating them outside, where they won't scare you but will keep working hard. If you don't want them to come back, seal any gaps and holes in the foundation, doors, and windows. Fix any leaks and clean up any standing water. Move piles of wood and leaves away from your home. Now, that's a lot of homework, but the result is worth it, trust me.
A trip to Hawaii may become your last. This is exactly what happened to David Potts, who came to Maui to spend some quality time with his girlfriend. We all know that the ocean can pose a whole bunch of dangers. Riptides, sharks, poisonous algae. Even a seemingly safe sand hole can end your life in a matter of seconds. Blowholes can do that too. The thing is, they're not frequently spoken of, therefore, many people just don't know that they'd better stay away from them. Now, let me break it down for you what a blowhole is. You all know sea caves, right? As any other formation, these grow in size. In case they grow landward and upward, they sort of turn into vertical shafts, exposing themselves toward the surface. As of now, everything seems fine, no extreme danger whatsoever, right? But the scary things start if those shafts begin getting hydraulic compression. In this case, seawater is released through a port right on top of the blowhole. The result looks like a geyser, and by the way, those blowholes even have a second name: marine geysers. The height of the spray may vary, and it's up to the geometry of the cave and blowhole, combined with tidal levels and swell conditions. So what exactly happened to David, who met his early demise in Hawaii? Those who were unlucky enough to witness this horrible incident said that Mr. Potts had been spotted dancing around one of those blowholes. He was dangerously close, just inches away from the opening. Moreover, some people claimed he had even been playing in the sprays of water that were shooting high into the sky. Then he suddenly disappeared into thin air. As it was discovered later, he fell into a blowhole. There were no official statements concerning whether Mr. Potts had passed away or not, yet he was never found, meaning his destiny is pretty much clear to everyone. The story took place back in 2011, so he's definitely not coming back, sadly. The big question is, who's responsible for this tragedy? There are no warning signs at the sign, so David could not know how dangerous that innocent fun was in reality. Moreover, witnesses claim it was slippery there, so it must have been an accident. However, despite most tourists knowing how notorious this area is, they still continue visiting the site. No tragic reminders help. So, how do you save yourself in case you come across a blowhole? The best way to do that is to keep as far away from it as possible. If you get sucked by it, your chances of surviving are virtually nil. Just for comparison, not every tsunami gives you chances this low. For instance, a 1-foot water level tsunami only gives you a 0.01% probability of passing away. Even a 3-foot water level, when you literally cannot stand on the ground, only says that the probability of passing away is high. Blowholes, on the contrary, don't give you any chances. They pull you in once and for all. But how do these terrifying holes actually work? Blowholes are most likely to form in places where there are crevices. A good example of a crevice is a lava tube. A lava tube, or you can also alternatively hear the name pyroduct, is a natural channel created by the movement of lava from a volcanic vent when it's traveling beneath the solidified exterior of a lava flow. When the lava within the tube drains away, it results in the formation of a cave. Those tubes can often be found along fault lines. A fault line is a flat fracture in the rock where significant displacement has occurred due to rock movement. Major faults in the Earth's crust are caused by tectonic forces, often forming at plate boundaries, like those found in subduction zones or transform faults. The rapid movement of these active faults generates most earthquakes, although some faults may shift slowly without causing seismic activity. It's known as aseismic creep. The next ingredient is powerful waves. When they hit the coast, water gets in those crevices. But since there's high pressure inside, it bursts out in the form of spray. To be honest, it's a whole show, as those water bursts are accompanied by a particular loud noise, which makes it very attractive for tourists. Sure thing, these formations do not only exist in Hawaii. Probably the most popular blowhole out there is located far away from Maui, in New South Wales, Australia. There's a small town of Kiama, and only around 15,000 people call it home. However, this small place attracts myriads of people because of a blowhole also nicknamed Kiama. This name has a meaning behind it. It's literally translated as where the sea makes a noise. And remember, blowholes are normally accompanied by a particular sound. The town of Kiama literally makes its living thanks to this unusual geological formation, attracting up to 900,000 tourists each year. There must be something special to see other than the hole, right? Otherwise, so many people wouldn't be ready to pay their hard-earned money to travel there. The blowhole in question can spray water up to 82 feet in the air. Trust me, if you come close to this place, you'll get thoroughly drenched in water. While this is not surprising, as we're dealing with the world's biggest blowhole here. Remember I told you, once you get into the blowhole, there's no coming back? It's not entirely true. Scott Gutterson actually ventured inside, studied the blowhole, and even found a secret chamber there. When he first went down to the bottom of Kiama, he found there a couple of bronze statues, some fishing rods, hats, a push bike, and even money. Still, you gotta remember that Mr. Gutterson is a professional, and you should never repeat his stunts. It's not the only blowhole that the town of Kiama has to offer. There's one called Little Blowhole, all because of its narrow shape. The good thing about it is that it's safer to visit than its big brother, but it can promise views as spectacular as the big blowhole. The brothers are a bit far away from each other though. The big one is just several feet away from the coastline, and the little one is around a mile south of the main blowhole. Sometimes there are fun legends behind those natural phenomena. You see, modern people can explain why water bursts from underneath the ground. We know the mechanics and logic behind it. But in olden times, people were way more superstitious, and it was not only easier to explain various phenomena as something supernatural. Sometimes, it was the only one explanation available due to the lack of knowledge and equipment. Thus, La Bufadora, a big blowhole in Mexico, got its beautiful legend. People used to believe that there was a whale trapped in the rocky point, and that the whale would blow water to attract the attention of its pod. With time, the whale turned to stone and remained there forever. Nobody definitely believes in it in the 21st century, but this legend helps attract tourists from all over the world, which locals are very happy about. You see, La Bufadora is located in a small town 17 miles south of Ensenada, and the blowhole helps create working places. Locals opened souvenir and food places, and at some point, there were about 150 active businesses not far away from the famous blowhole. You can often hear that people call La Bufadora a marine geyser, and while some blowholes can be referred to this way, this is not the case with La Bufadora. This one lacks thermal sources, and thus it can't be called a geyser. The water sprout here is the result of air trapped in a sea cave and forced upward. For it to happen, a wave must push the air into the cave. As a result, this wave is released in the form of water, recedes, creating that signature spray going upward. By the way, those sprays can reach up to 100 feet into the air. The sprays have their own time frequency too. It depends on multiple factors. But as for La Bufadora, the range between eruptions is 13 to 17 seconds.
This wild story began when a Reddit user shared his truly bizarre find online. After he posted a gold glowing rock he thought might contain uranium, the internet went nuts. But we need a backstory. It'll make everything even more exciting. Garrett Tennis, a 25-year-old man from New Hampshire, explained that it all started around 30 years ago when his dad visited Ruggles Mine. He found an amazing rock. It glowed like a neon sign when he shined a UV flashlight on it. No wonder he thought it must be something special. So he took the rock with him and hid it under his father's shed. Fast forward to the present time. Garrett and his dad decided it would be fun to check out his grandfather's place to see if that rock was still there. Well, yes, it was still there. So Garrett took that glowing rock home. He was super excited to put it to the test. He grabbed a Geiger counter, that's that cool gadget that measures radioactivity, and then he made a mind-blowing discovery. The Geiger counter hit a staggering 3,000 counts per minute of radiation, which is way above normal levels. Now, let's put this in perspective. A reading of 100 CPM is considered a warning level. So when Garrett saw 3,000 CPM, he knew he was dealing with something serious. Those CPM measurements tell you how many radioactive particles are floating around. While our bodies can handle low radiation levels, long-term exposure can really increase the risks of terrible illnesses. Well, later, Garrett learned that the rock contained a substance called gumite. That's a radioactive material made up of uranium and other radioactive stuff. The real danger comes from touching the rock and then accidentally inhaling or swallowing dust from it. That's when things can get really serious. Since finding it out, Garrett has been super careful to keep himself and his family safe from that glowing menace. But let's get back to that Reddit post Garrett made. It set off a heated discussion. One Redditor wrote that the rock might be uranium ore. He told Garrett to be super cautious. They pointed out that while uranium emits particles that can't really penetrate your skin, the real danger comes from the particles getting inside your body. And since the rock was described as crumbling, there probably was a risk that those particles could become airborne, leading to serious health issues. Well, the tension was rising. Then, the CEO of a uranium mining company explained to Newsweek that while 3,000 CPM was a high reading, it was not unusually harmful to people. Such levels are like those of the rocks you'd find at uranium exploration sites. Well, that was a relief. But this staggering discovery can serve as a powerful reminder to always be cautious with weird finds. Whether it's a glowing rock or something odd you spot outdoors, you never know what you might be dealing with. Some beautiful things hide fatal dangers, like this mineral. Chalcanthite dazzles with its brilliant blue hue. Just look at it. Has it come from the stars? Nope, it has an earthly origin. It's just a hydrated, water-soluble copper sulfate, and it serves as an especially important source of copper ore. At the same time, when this stuff encounters moisture, it can dissolve and recrystallize. And no one wants this, since it can potentially lead to copper poisoning of the entire area. Plus, keep in mind that it's toxic to people. Well, there's 2 strikes right there. Or look at this beauty, stibnite. It looks like something that belongs to the Game of Thrones fantasy drama. Well, if we speak about poisoning, definitely. Stibnite is a highly toxic mineral. And still, for thousands of years, people used a paste made of this mineral in cosmetics. They thought it made eyebrows and eyelashes look better. But the worst thing? The mineral was also used to craft eating utensils. You can probably predict the outcome. Poisoning. The next perilous material on our list is arsenopyrite. It's an iron arsenic sulfide with a slick metallic steel look that's bound to catch your eye. But, of course, it's not as innocent as it seems. Mostly found chilling in hydrothermal vents, it often hangs out with gold deposits. Now, here's the worst thing about arsenopyrite. When it gets exposed to air and water, it oxidizes, and then boom, soluble arsenic floods into the environment. It wreaks havoc on ecosystems and is toxic to humans too. Well, next up we have galena, your go-to material if you're looking for lead, one of the world's most important ores for producing stuff. It's got a cubic structure, which makes it look cool. As a bonus, it's also a solid source of silver. Now, you can handle galena without any problems, but as long as it doesn't break down into lead dust, because that dust is toxic. If you breathe it in or swallow it, say goodbye to your health. Lead poisoning is no joke. Moving on to the nightmare fuel known as hutchinsonite. This one's packing not just arsenic, but also thallium and lead. Thallium, by the way, is tasteless, just like my jokes, and extremely toxic. Once it used to be the main element in rat poison and insecticides. So yeah, we've got quite a cocktail of dangerous elements in this material. If you come across it, steer clear. Exposure might literally be fatal. Anyway, look at this rock. It's so pretty. Well, don't let the enchanting orange-yellow color fool you. Orpiment, which is the name of this mineral, is life-threatening. This arsenic sulfide mineral pops up in hydrothermal vents and hot springs. Shockingly, people once used it medicinally in ancient China and even tried to alchemize it into gold. Spoiler alert, it didn't work, and they probably just ended up with arsenic poisoning. When orpiment gets mixed with oxygen, it releases arsenic. So if you ever find yourself close to this beauty, well, think twice. It's time to talk about stunning torbernite. This hydrated green copper phosphate is found in uranium-rich granites, and yes, it's radioactive. Not only does it naturally emit radon gas, which is a big contributor to serious lung problems, but if you spend too much time around it, well, you're playing a high-stakes game with your health. Uranium and radon exposure is not something you want on your resume. And now for the grand finale, cinnabar, a highly toxic mineral. This deep red mercury sulfide is the primary source of mercury. In the past, it was used for everything from trading to makeup to art. The name comes from the word meaning dragon's blood. If that's not metal, I don't know what is. People mined cinnabar from volcanic rock, roasted it to extract mercury, and sometimes ended up with a side of mercury poisoning, which is pretty bad. Cinnabar can vary in color from red-orange to deep red-purple. When pigmented, it's called vermilion. It was used to paint human bones, as tattoo dye, in cosmetics, and to decorate buildings and ceramics. In the Middle Ages, it even served as ink. In different cultures, people used cinnabar in cosmetics as rouge. Little did they know. Renaissance painters love vermilion too. For example, Botticelli used cinnabar in several of his pieces, including Mystic Nativity. Rembrandt also used vermilion, for instance, to paint the dress of a woman in Belshazzar's feast. Now, of course, using cinnabar comes with risks, because when this material gets heated up, it releases toxic mercury vapor. When encapsulated in oil paint, it is less hazardous than in water-based paints like egg tempera. And please avoid using cinnabar or vermilion in dry forms, such as pastels, even with good respiratory and skin protection. The residues of this pigment can pose serious health and environmental risks. And now, here's a fun, or not-so-fun, fact for you. Do you know Artex, the textured coating that used to go on ceilings and walls? Well, it contains asbestos. From the 1950s to the 1980s, that bumpy stuff often had up to 3% asbestos mixed in. Now, asbestos is dangerous if it breaks down because those tiny fibers can get into your lungs and cause all kinds of bad problems. Most manufacturers stopped using asbestos in the early 80s. But if your home was built before 1999, there's a chance it's still hanging around. So don't go drilling or sanding that stuff without getting it tested first. You don't want to mess with asbestos. It's a slow predator that waits decades to strike. Brighter green plants might give us a warning when a volcano is stirring. Turns out, unlike earthquakes, which are super unpredictable, volcanoes can sometimes show early signs. Plants growing around volcanoes look healthier when volcanic activity ramps up because they thrive on increased carbon dioxide levels, a gas that volcanoes emit during eruptions and through underground magma. They also turn browner when the volcanic activity peaks, likely due to harmful gases and heat harming the vegetation. Scientists use satellites to figure this all out. They analyzed satellite data spanning from 1984 to 2022. Future changes might be tracked through satellite imagery as well. Now, this isn't easy to measure directly, especially when volcanoes are tucked away in hard-to-reach, lush areas, such as Taal Volcano in the Philippines and Mount Etna in Italy. This way, plants could give us a heads up about volcanic eruptions years before they happen. With this new weird method, we could save nearby communities by enhancing safety measures, minimizing property damage, and improving evacuation plans. Volcanoes and plants are often tied in mysterious ways. For example, volcanic eruptions in Krakatoa, Indonesia, gave a surprising boost to saguaro cacti in Arizona's Sonora Desert, even though they're thousands of miles away. When the infamous Krakatoa volcano erupted in the 19th century, it sent shockwaves around the world and suddenly helped nurture a generation of saguaros. These incredible cacti can be up to 40 feet tall as adults, but they start life as tiny seedlings that struggle to survive in the desert's harsh conditions. However, thanks to the cooler and wetter conditions caused by volcanic eruptions like Krakatoa, they can get unbelievable growth spurts. Chillier summers and milder winters that follow such eruptions create perfect conditions for young saguaros, which usually don't make it due to extreme heat and cold. But volcanoes not only influence plants, they're also Earth's jewelry makers. Deep beneath the surface, in the fiery heart of a volcano, conditions are just right to form dazzling gems. When volcanoes erupt, they can bring these treasures up to the surface. One of the most famous gems created by volcanic activity is the diamond. They're usually found in a rare type of volcanic rock called kimberlite, which forms deep within the Earth under extreme pressure and temperature. Millions of years ago, kimberlite eruptions, small but powerful volcanic events, hauled diamonds from deep within the Earth. This created sources for many of today's diamond mines. Now, these eruptions didn't happen just anywhere, but originated from the stable hearts of continents, known as cratons. They were bursting forth from as deep as 75 miles underground. Fueled by a mix of carbon dioxide and water, they were like natural rockets, blasting through the Earth to form carrot-shaped channels filled with diamond-laden rocks. Recently, scientists have delved into why these eruptions happen. They suggested that the breakup of ancient supercontinents like Pangaea disrupted the mantle's flow underneath, triggering these spectacular kimberlite eruptions. When a volcano that hosts kimberlite erupts, it can propel these precious stones toward the surface, where we eventually find them. There are other gems that can be found in solidified lava, like peridot, a bright green stone that forms in the molten rock of the upper mantle and is brought to the surface by volcanic activity. There's also obsidian, a shiny glass-like rock that forms when lava cools rapidly. And then there are some insane rocks, like the ones that can hold water in them, even in lava. The deeper we dive in volcanoes, the rarer are the gems we can find. If we dive into the thick layer known as the mantle, we might find olivine, a resilient, pretty green mineral that makes up about half of this layer. It loves high temperatures and happily forms in lava, eventually crystallizing into the igneous rocks we find scattered across the Earth's surface thanks to volcanic eruptions. As olivine cools, it starts to crystallize. Sometimes these crystals are tiny, but other times they grow large and can be polished into beautiful gemstones used in jewelry or industrial processes like metal casing. But as we venture deeper, about 250 miles down, olivine undergoes a fascinating transformation. Here we encountered the layer that's called the transition zone. In the transition zone, the pressure is intense and the heat is on the rise. In this place, olivine morphs into exotic materials like wadleysite and ringwoodite. They show a lovely blue-green hue and a glossy sheen. While they're too rare and small for jewelry, they have a unique ability to hold water within their structures, not as droplets, but as hydrogen and oxygen components, making up to 3% of their volume. Later, it turned out that the transition zone is not just a pressure cooker for minerals, it's a giant sponge, holding a vast underground water reservoir. This was a groundbreaking discovery. You get the pun? This hidden water doesn't form an ocean as we know it, but suggests vast amounts of water are stored deep within the Earth. Volcanoes can help us learn more about life not only on our planet, but on others as well. In the fiery heart of Costa Rica's Poas volcano lies Laguna Caliente. This hydrothermal crater lake is among the most brutal environments on Earth. We've got a whole bunch here: scalding temperatures, toxic minerals, and water so acidic it can corrode metal. But despite all that, there's a few tough microorganisms that manage to thrive in these conditions. And this remarkable survival has caught the attention of scientists because it might just hold clues about life on Mars. Scientists are studying these extreme microbes. Turns out they've developed a myriad of genetic adaptations to withstand their harsh surroundings. They have genes that help them process everything, from sulfur and iron to carbon and bioplastic granules. All these things could be crucial in environments as challenging as Mars. NASA's Perseverance rover is currently exploring the crater rim of Jezero crater on Mars. Previously, we looked for Martian life signs in places like old stream beds and river deltas. However, the discovery of Laguna Caliente suggests that we should probably look for life in the remnants of ancient Martian hot springs as well. These spots might have once had the right cocktail of heat, water, and energy sources that are thought to be essential for kickstarting biology. Volcanoes can help planets in many ways, but they can also destroy life. Scientists believe that volcanic activity was one of the main reasons for at least 3 of Earth's 5 mass extinctions. Take the mass extinction of dinosaurs. We're used to blaming it on the Chicxulub meteorite, but there's a chance it could have been caused by volcanoes. The consequences of the eruptions can be horrifying. Mount Tambora, located on the Indonesian island of Sumbawa, erupted in 1815 and was the most powerful eruption ever recorded in history. This massive eruption was so strong it ejected between 8 to 11 cubic miles of material. It was so loud that the sounds of the eruption were heard as far away as Sumatra, over 1,600 miles distant. Before its catastrophic eruption, Tambora had been dormant for centuries, and its magma chamber slowly cooled and crystallized. This process built up immense pressure inside the volcano. It was eventually released in a series of terrifying events starting on April 5, 1815. The climax came on April 10th, when massive plumes of ash and pumice were thrown into the atmosphere. The aftermath of the eruption was dire. Tsunamis devastated the surrounding area. It's estimated that around 4,600 people passed away immediately from the eruption itself, with ash fallouts affecting air quality and water sources across the region. This event came down in history as the year without a summer. This was due to the vast amount of sulfur dioxide Tambora ejected into the stratosphere. It created a veil of aerosols that reflected sunlight and significantly lowered global temperatures. A similar thing happened to our planet 66 million years ago, during the dinosaur extinction. The sky turned black for months. I mean, I wasn't there, but that's what they say. So if you ever find yourself under lights overhead resembling the ones in the picture, it might be best to move to safer ground. Those lights could belong to a drone display, and the last thing you'd want is for them to come crashing down on you. Hey, I'm just guessing. Just recently in China, drones unexpectedly plummeted from the sky above a mall, causing a bit of chaos below. The organizers blamed it on an operation error. Fortunately, nobody was harmed. But incidents like this occurred in the past, so it's wise to steer clear of standing directly underneath drone shows. There's a crazy video going around the internet showing worms falling from the sky in China and crawling on cars. Some people think it's animal rain, but others aren't so sure. Debate is still going on. Some say the video is fake, while others argue the worms were only on cars and not on the ground. A few think it's just a normal thing in March. And guess what? The weird worm rain actually happened in the British Isles too. In Scotland, kids playing soccer were shocked by worms raining down, possibly because of a big weather change. Ooh, you think? In Texarkana, a city in Texas, an unusual event occurred when fish fell from the sky along with rain, surprising many residents. I would guess so. This phenomenon, known as animal rain, happens when small water creatures like frogs, crabs, and small fish are swept up by waterspouts or drafts on Earth's surface and then dropped during rainfall. These weird rains aren't only creepy but may be dangerous for your health. One day in Oakville, Washington, residents witnessed jelly-like blobs falling from the sky instead of regular raindrops. These blobs caused flu-like symptoms in those who came in close contact. Researchers studying the raindrops discovered human white blood cells in the jelly-like substance, leading to speculations about their origin, with theories ranging from evaporated jellyfish to waste from a commercial plane. Another bizarre rain event involved money falling from the sky in Hong Kong and Germany, seemingly as a result of human stunts. In both instances, people were surprised to see money swirling and falling from rooftops, leading to chaotic scenes as individuals try to collect the cash. Well, that's the only type of rain I want to get caught in, unless they're dropping, rolls of quarters. Ew. Now, imagine a scenario where, instead of a regular lightning bolt, a massive jet shoots out from the top of a cloud, reaching over 50 miles up into the sky, almost touching space. This powerful and rare lightning strikes about 1,000 times a year, carrying up to 50 times more energy than a standard bolt. Recently, researchers discovered the largest gigantic jet on record, emanating from a cloud over Oklahoma in 2018. The intensity of this blast was nearly double the previous record, leading scientists to consider it the most significant cloud-to-ground strike ever observed. Elsewhere, in a city in northern Mexico, numerous yellow-headed blackbirds were captured on camera falling from the sky, resulting in some tragic casualties. The cause of their fall remains uncertain, but experts speculate that a predator bird may have startled the flock from above, causing them to lose their balance. A security camera recorded the birds descending onto homes like a dark cloud. These migratory birds breathe further north in the US and Canada before wintering in Mexico. While some theories attribute the fall to various factors such as electrical wires, experts lean toward a predator bird inciting the chaos. Now sometimes, even iguanas can fall onto your head from the skies. In really cold weather, they go into a kind of hibernation mode to survive. They might look frozen, but they're actually still alive. They usually start moving again when it warms up above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The problem is that they might fall down from trees while they're in this chilled state, which is dangerous both for them and your head. Imagine a vase falling from a shelf. The principle is basically the same. If the temperature stays below 40 degrees for too long, the aftermath might be sad. Now, one morning, the Fox 6 wake-up show in Wisconsin was in for a surprise when they spotted strange lights flying over downtown. At first, the crew thought it could be fireworks, or even something extraterrestrial. But as they continued to watch, they discovered it was just a group of seagulls flying over the Milwaukee County Courthouse, an illusion caused by the camera's settings. To confirm, a reporter went to the courthouse and filmed the seagulls. Case closed, right? Well, not quite. The internet wasn't satisfied, and conspiracy theories started popping up, still lingering today. People with too much time on their hands. Despite videos pointing out differences in movements and height of the objects, it was clear they were just seagulls, the result of the camera settings and angles. Meanwhile, in the beautiful city of Rome, a charming yet tricky bird problem has residents on edge. As nighttime falls, citizens may come across a group of people in white overalls carrying speakers blaring sharp sounds to scare away pesky birds from staining their clothes with droppings. Every winter, starlings fill the skies above Rome in a mesmerizing display of synchronized aerobatics. But the mess they leave behind prompts city officials to try and shoo them away. Sadly, sometimes the sky brings more unusual and unsettling sights, such as the case in Olympia Springs, Kentucky in 1876, when chunks of raw meat fell from the sky. After months of debate among researchers, it was concluded that the meat shower was actually vulture vomit, a defense mechanism or weight reduction tactic used by vultures. Other strange events include birds raining down in Arkansas due to fireworks causing disorientation, spiders ballooning and covering landscapes in Australia, and golf balls falling in Punta Gorda, Florida, possibly due to waterspouts and nearby golf courses. Additionally, a mud rain event was recorded once. This phenomenon led to discomfort and dirty water droplets containing dust particles falling from the sky in an unusually brief and unpleasant occurrence. In California, a homeowner in Torrance found themselves in a chaos straight out of a horror movie when hundreds of birds invaded their home through the chimney. It took 3 days to remove them all, leaving a massive mess that was no joke. A similar incident occurred in Montecito, but thankfully, a steel grate prevented 1,000 birds from causing havoc within the house. To avoid a similar invasion, experts recommend ensuring your chimney has a secure screen to keep birds out. Now get ready to witness a spectacular display of purples and greens illuminating the sky. No, it's not your usual aurora, but rather something known as Steve. Discovered by amateur skywatchers, Steve is a mysterious counterpart to the aurora. Short for Strong Thermal Emission Velocity Enhancement, very clever, Steve was first documented by a group of amateur aurora chasers in Canada in 2018, who shared their find with NASA researchers. Steve stands out for its magenta streak appearance, contrasting the conventional green ribbons of the aurora. While the aurora results from solar particles interacting with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere, Steve is believed to be a unique optical phenomenon that occasionally accompanies auroras. Although the exact cause of Steve is still under investigation, scientists suggest it may be linked to charged particles in the ionosphere interacting with Earth's magnetic field. If you're eager to witness it for yourself, head to locations where auroras are commonly seen, such as Canada, Alaska, Northern Europe, New Zealand, or Australia. Now keep in mind that Steve usually accompanies a powerful aurora during geomagnetic storms, never appearing on its own. Now lastly, in southeastern Mexico, the skies turned dark as swarms of locusts passed over Mérida. While some compared the event to a passage from the Book of Revelation, local officials reassured the public that these Central American locusts were simply passing through and wouldn't harm local crops. Native to the region, the locusts came from vegetation-rich areas northwest of the city. But despite this simple scientific explanation, some people still believe this event is a telltale sign of the end of the world. Well, don't hold your breath, or it will.
Although the Da Vinci Code might not hold the same level of mystery as the Da Vinci Code, deciphering it can offer crucial protection against potential burglaries. This code consists of a series of cryptic notes and alerts that burglars use to communicate with each other, warning their accomplices about the risks and challenges they may face when targeting a specific property. By understanding and decoding the Da Vinci Code, we common people can effectively safeguard our homes and belongings against intruders, ensuring enhanced security and peace of mind. Look here, a cute garden gnome. Welp, if it doesn't belong to you and you didn't place it in your garden yourself, it's the Da Vinci Code. Police are warning about a concerning trend involving the placement of Christmas gnomes in gardens. These are not some gifts, and they aren't placed by mistake, as these gnomes may be used as a signal by potential burglars to determine if a home is vacant. So you gotta always remain vigilant and take steps to secure your property. Some authorities report that a band of serial burglars in Fairfax County, Virginia have been breaking into homes using bouquets of flowers and spray paint. Apparently, a lady would show up at the door with flowers, but if no one answered, she'd head back to the car. Then, two guys would bust in and steal stuff like jewelry and cash. They've been trying to stay incognito by interfering and covering up home security cameras. Thieves are drawing secret symbols in the street to communicate with other criminals about potential targets. These symbols can indicate whether a home is affluent, has already been robbed, or does not contain valuable items. Alarmingly, they can also signify if there is a vulnerable woman living in the house, or if the occupant is easily frightened or gullible. Law enforcement officers have deciphered the meanings behind several of these symbols. For example, an X suggests the home is a good target, while an X enclosed within a circle indicates there is nothing worth stealing inside. A capital D with a line through it signifies that breaking into the house is too risky, while 5 circles in the form of a star indicate a wealthy property. Additional symbols can reveal if a home is equipped with an alarm system or has been previously burglarized. Those signs aren't the only things you have to keep an eye out for. Watch out for unfamiliar solicitors who may seem out of place or suspicious when knocking on your door. If they're unable to provide proper identification or a valid reason for being there, it's best to proceed with vigilance. Be cautious of anyone claiming to be from a utility company but unable to provide a legitimate ID. They may have ulterior motives for wanting access to your home. It is important to remain vigilant and aware of your surroundings, especially when it comes to individuals who may be lingering around your residence. Keep a watchful eye out for anyone who appears to be loitering near your home, jotting down suspicious notes, or simply watching your property with a keen interest. This behavior could be a red flag that someone is monitoring your movements and activities, potentially in search of weaknesses or vulnerabilities in your home security. Make sure to report any suspicious behavior to the authorities and take necessary precautions to protect yourself and your property from potential threats. Also, be wary of individuals pretending to be survey takers or conducting market research. While some surveys may be genuine, Scammers could use this as a way to gather information about your home security and routines. Keep an eye out for charity groups who may seem more interested in your home than your beliefs or donations. This could be a telltale sign of a potential scam. Also, look out for any unidentified vehicles in your neighborhood, as they may be scouting for potential targets. If you find your mailbox jammed with unwanted leaflets or flyers, it could be a sign that someone is keeping a close eye on your home or trying to gather information. Burglars may try to create a fake accident to trick you into leaving your home. Be cautious and don't fall for that. If you're in doubt, always call 911. Additionally, be wary of strange phone calls where the caller remains silent. If you receive repeated calls like this, it could be a signal that your home is being targeted by burglars who want to see if you're there. Finding a pizza flyer or a newspaper under your welcome mat might also indicate that your home is being scoped out. If these items are left overnight, it could suggest to potential intruders that the house is empty. Be sure to remove them as soon as you return home. Formerly one of the most highly sought-after criminals in the country, Adrian Pritchard is now determined to assist individuals in avoiding the break-ins he once carried out. Pritchard spent a decade engaged in criminal activities, committing hundreds of burglaries that started when he was just a kid. Over 20 years since his last release from prison, Pritchard, who is now in his 50s, wants to share his insights on preventing crimes like the ones he used to perpetrate. Pritchard and his partners would conduct surveillance during the day and break into properties at night, employing various techniques to navigate through homes and businesses undetected. Moreover, he would sometimes engage in spiteful acts. For example, he could leave a total mess in a victim's house as a statement of defiance. Today, Pritchard resides in Hawke's Bay with his 3 daughters and is committing to helping others avoid falling victim to burglary. Drawing from his past experiences, he offers valuable advice on safeguarding homes, such as investing in surveillance cameras, keeping objects away from windows, and avoiding common hiding spots for spare keys. Additionally, Pritchard emphasizes the importance of deadbolts, maintaining clear letterboxes, and utilizing barbed wire for added security measures. Through his efforts to educate property owners, he strives to prevent individuals from experiencing the same violations he once inflicted on others. Returning home to a fresh and organized house after a vacation is always a relief. But it's important to remember that a completely spotless house can signal to potential burglars that no one is home. Try leaving a few things out, like an ironing board with a pile of clothes that need to be pressed, to make it seem like you've just stepped out for a moment, rather than being away for an extended period. Also, you should never ever post about your holiday on social media. And it's recommended not to write your travel dates on visible calendars, as it can give criminals a timeline to work with. To give the impression that someone is still at home while you're away, you can ask your friend to park their car in your driveway or leave the radio on loud. It would also be great if you could ask someone to close and open your curtains or blinds to maintain the appearance of occupancy. Additionally, make sure to remove any obvious signs of your absence, such as envelopes labeled holiday money, and ask a friend to rearrange things in your house periodically. It's extremely important to look after the homes of friends or neighbors who may be unable to do so themselves due to hospitalization or moving to residential care. Simple tasks like mowing the lawn, moving the mail, and even putting out your own rubbish can help deter potential burglars by giving the impression that someone is still around. Updating the appearance of the home, such as replacing faded curtains or tidying up the front garden, can also help prevent break-ins. Now, should you notice any of these warning signs or feel suspicious about door-to-door activity, it's important to contact the authorities for assistance. Always prioritize your safety and home security by staying vigilant and taking appropriate precautions. Remember, while these signs may not always indicate criminal activity, they should prompt you to take necessary action.
Now, if you want to elevate your safety at home to a brand new level, try this fun trick. Hot glue a piece of chalk under the bottom of your door right before you shut it. Make sure it will touch the floor when the door is open. When you get back home, remove the chalk before going into your room. Look for any marks on the floor left by the chalk. If you see any, you'll know someone has been in your room. The latest must-have water bottle has become a popular trend on social media, with everyone rushing to get their hands on the Stanley Cup. However, there has been a warning from experts after a woman's car was vandalized in order to steal the viral cup. Although these oversized flasks have become a popular accessory, they have also turned into a target for thieves. Recently, a woman shared on social media that her car windows had been smashed and her Stanley Cup had been stolen. With the cups costing around $40, experts are warning car owners that they may be at risk of attracting criminals. The bottom line here, if you have some trendy possessions, do not show them off. There might be someone ready to steal them from you. When you get home, try not to switch on the lights right away, especially if you're in an apartment building. You never know whether someone has been following you and is now waiting to see which window will light up. It's always best to be cautious and come up with a quick solution. Leaving a light on in your apartment or on the porch can make a big difference. It's a small price to pay for your safety and peace of mind. Want to make sure your car keys are set up in the safest way possible? Check out this easy tip. When you're getting into your car, look for the option on your newer car key fob that lets you choose which doors to unlock when you press the button. Choosing to only unlock the driver's door is a smart move in case you ever need to make a quick escape. If all the doors unlock at the same time, it's easy for someone to hop in the back while you're getting in the front. Make sure you always have enough gas in your tank, especially at night. You never know what might happen. So picture this, you're driving home from your parents' place, and you see you've only got a quarter tank left. It's scary to think about running out of gas, right? And what if someone sketchy is following you, making it clear they're tracking your every move? Yow! So remember, always keep your gas tank filled up for those unexpected moments. It's a great idea to have a pair of men's work boots by the front door when you have maintenance workers or contractors coming to your home. Leaving out clothing, like boxers, around the house can also give the impression that someone else is at home and should be left undisturbed. Avoid using highly personal bumper stickers on your car that could reveal information about your school, hobbies, or other identifying details. This could make it easier for others to track your movements and activities. When using valet services, make sure to remove your car key from the key ring holding other keys. It's important to be cautious and not overlook the possibility that someone could be lurking behind the venue with a key copier. They may gather your information and location, leading to potential robbery in the future. Stay vigilant and keep your car keys secure. Now, it's recommended that you should walk against traffic while on the street. This means facing the oncoming cars rather than having them approach you from behind. Walking against traffic is safer, as it reduces the risk of a car pulling up beside you or behind you and someone potentially snatching you. This is a common occurrence in movies. If you have your routine well scheduled, you may want to reconsider the timing from time to time. The thing is, by adhering to particular hours and places, you're making yourself vulnerable to being easily tracked and potentially targeted for criminal activities, such as theft or trafficking. It is advisable to consider alternatives and break out of this predictable pattern. Avoid going to a car wash in the evening or at night, especially those gas stations you drive through. There is a risk of someone being between the sides when your car moves slowly during washing, which might lead to a potential carjacking or other dangerous situations. Making changes to your daily routine can have positive effects on your mental well-being and overall safety. By adding variety to your schedule, you can avoid falling into a predictable routine that could potentially make you more vulnerable. By making minor adjustments to your daily activities, you can decrease the risk of someone using your routine against you. There are several ways you can incorporate variety into your schedule. For example, you can change your commute route or the times you travel to and from work. You can also try visiting different stores for your shopping needs. Trying out new restaurants, cafes, or bars is always fun. Plus, by changing your restaurant preferences, you sort of break out of that predictable pattern of yours. Now, when living alone as a woman in a large or small apartment complex, it may not be advisable to display a doormat outside your door that is feminine or cutesy. This could potentially alert individuals involved in criminal activities, such as kidnapping, to the presence of a woman living in the apartment. Now, every car is assigned a unique vehicle identification number, also known as a VIN. Although it may seem insignificant, VIN switching is a common tactic used by thieves when selling stolen vehicles. By etching your VIN onto each window of your car, you're deterring thieves from engaging in this illegal activity. The process of changing windows with an etched VIN is both costly and time-consuming, making it less appealing for criminals to resell the car. Some professionals offer services to etch your VIN into your windows, eliminating the need for you to do it yourself. Having increased security measures in your car is important. Criminals tend to avoid vehicles with advanced technology, and this is supported by data showing that Tesla and other high-tech cars are less likely to be stolen. Despite this, it is important to note that just because a car is modern does not guarantee it is completely secure. Many modern vehicles come equipped with engine management diagnostic ports, which can be incredibly useful but also have their drawbacks. These ports can potentially be used to unlock or start a vehicle. If your car has this feature, it may be wise to invest in a lockable cover as an added layer of protection. Now, according to Michael Frazier, former burglar turned security expert, it is not advisable to use a "Beware of Dog" sticker if you have a dog. Burglars may view this as an easy way to assess whether or not there is a security system in place. In reality, if a dog is able to move freely around the house without triggering any alarms, a human could do the same. Burglars are aware of this and may take advantage of the situation. Additionally, many dogs can be easily won over in a short amount of time, unless they have been specially trained to be wary of strangers. In these cases, burglars can easily lock the dog away in another room, leaving the home vulnerable to theft. However, our dog Piper barks at anyone and anything all the time, no matter what. So, burglars beware. Michael also suggests adopting a burglar's mindset. Ask yourself, how would I break in? This exercise can help you identify weak spots in your home security. Take a walk around your house and look for easy entry points, such as windows that are easily accessible. Also, be cautious about displaying valuable items, like laptops, in view of the street. Additionally, when disposing of empty boxes from new electronics like TVs or computers, avoid leaving them near your trash can. This can signal to potential thieves that you have expensive items inside. Instead, make sure to break down the boxes and store them for recycling.
One day, the hand of Ross McPherson, a teenager from Scotland, suddenly turned red and started hurting badly. Soon, a painful blister appeared. It was the size of an orange. This made it hard for Ross to even dress himself. The discomfort was unbearable, and he needed doctors' help to get rid of this nightmare. Turned out, he accidentally brushed his hand against the harmless-looking plant while riding his bike near his home. All this nightmare was caused by one very dangerous plant, the giant hogweed. The giant hogweed is a group of toxic look-alike plants that are known as Britain's most dangerous plant. Surprisingly, this plant is a member of the carrot family. It was originally hanging out in the Caucasus. People really liked it for its impressive height of over 16 feet and pleasant appearance. They started planting it in gardens, and then suddenly it turned out that the plant was highly toxic. By the 80s, it was officially banned from gardens in England. Giant hogweed hangs out near rivers and canals. Recently, it started popping up in gardens and parks, too. People have spotted it all over the UK. This plant got even more attention during the recent years when everyone started spending more time in their gardens. It looks like a taller, more dangerous cousin of cow parsley or hemlock. It also has long stems and a bunch of white leaves, but its stem is pretty wide with a big, white, umbrella-shaped flower on top. To see the difference, watch out for its leaves. They look sharp and divided, around 6 feet in width. The stems are thick and bristly with stiff white hairs and hollow ridges. You might notice purple blotches on the stems, like hemlock, But this plant grows much taller and has fewer fern leaves. Its flower heads can stretch up to 2 feet. This plant's sap can really hurt you. It contains a chemical called furocoumarin, which makes your skin super sensitive to sunlight. It can also cause a long-term problem called sensitization, which means that even years later, your skin can still react badly to sunlight. So if you get it on you and you go out in the sun, you'll end up with severe burns that blister and take forever to heal. People are often left with scars that stick around for life. And it's not just skin burns you have to worry about. If the sap gets in your eyes, it could even make you go blind. You should be especially careful in summer when it's most active. Remember that you can get affected by it even if you wear clothes or shoes. So just try to stay away from anything suspicious looking. Symptoms can include a rash, itching, and painful blisters. If you realize that you accidentally got hurt by this plant, go to the doctor immediately, especially if you see the blisters. First aid includes washing the area with soap and water and covering it up. There are other very toxic plants that could be hiding in your garden or local area, looking harmless and pretty. Don't be tricked by foxglove's beauty. This plant contains digitoxin, which is used in medicine to stimulate the heart. All parts of the foxglove plant are toxic. If you eat the leaves, you could end up with a stomachache, nausea, vomiting, or worse. In serious cases, it can even mess up with your vision and cause problems with your heart and kidneys. Nightshade is another one of the most poisonous plants. Don't eat it! Just a couple of its berries contain tropane alkaloids, which can be fatal to a person. This plant is a member of the tomato family. It can be found in woodlands, although it's not as common as it used to be. Its family is quite extensive, including tomatoes, potatoes, chilies, aubergines, peppers, and henbane. Despite its scary nature, we can extract an antidote for nerve gas from this plant. So while it's dangerous, it also holds a unique quality with potential medicinal uses. And finally, there's the hemlock water dropwort, also known as poison parsnip. It's a very common plant around rivers and lakes. As you can guess from the name, it's related to hemlock, another toxic plant. Hemlock is a very dangerous plant on its own. It can be fatal if eaten, and it contains 5 different alkaloids that can lead to severe paralysis of the nervous system. What's even worse is that it's often found in the wild around pretty populated areas. These two plants, however, live in different places and have different toxins. Every part of the hemlock water dropwort, including its tubers, stems, and leaves, contains a powerful poison called enanthotoxin. This poison targets the central nervous system and can cause serious convulsions. So, both of these plants are not to be messed with. These are just relatively toxic plants, but there are also those that are considered the most dangerous ones in the world. Aconite, also known as monk's hood or devil's helmet, is one of Europe's most poisonous. Just touching it can be harmful because of its potent neurotoxin. Manchineel tree is found in both Americas. This tree's sap can burn your skin. Its leaves and fruit are lethal. Castor bean is native to Africa. This shrub's seeds contain ricin, a toxin that's said to be 6,000 times more poisonous than cyanide. But it also has an upside. Castor oil can be extracted from these seeds. The seeds of jequirity bean are used in jewelry, but they contain a toxin called abrin, which is extremely poisonous. So be careful with these accessories. Oleander is a common ornamental plant. However, it contains toxins that make it poisonous. While poisonings are common, luckily, the plant is so bitter that no one wants to eat it in large quantities, so fatal cases are rare. Gympie gympie is a plant from Australasia, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The plant has a funny name, but its stinging hairs cause extreme discomfort lasting for months or even years. And finally, the potato plant. Though not as toxic as others, can be harmful if eaten. The green parts of the potato plant contain toxins like solanine and chaconine. Getting rid of toxic plants around your garden is crucial. even though it's not legally required. Especially because they could spread in the wild and you could get in trouble with the law for that. Here's what you can do to remove them safely. First, wear protective gear like gloves and face masks. Cover your skin completely and make sure that nothing can touch it. Make sure to dispose of the gear later or wash it immediately very carefully. Be careful not to let toxic plants flower. Try to dispose of them when they're small and pull them out when the soil is wet. For bigger plants, you might need to loosen the roots with a fork. It's best to leave this to professionals if it's a large area. Finally, make sure to dispose of the plant carefully. Don't just throw it anywhere, as it can spread and cause more problems. And stay on your guard in the future, as it can produce a lot of seeds that stick around for a long time. There's no need to panic if you see them in your garden. Just be careful and take action if you find it on your property. If you see them in your area, call the professionals to remove them. Luckily, fatal cases are very rare, and even if you accidentally touch the plant, you should be fine if you go to the doctor as soon as possible. But why are some plants so dangerous? It's all about chemistry and how plants have evolved over time. Plants develop toxins to protect themselves from being eaten by animals. If a plant is slightly more toxic than its neighbors, it has a better chance of surviving because animals will avoid it. Interestingly, most of the plants became dangerous to scare away large ancient animals like woolly mammoths or aurochs, not humans. Because of that, these toxins often aren't fatal. The plants only wanted to make those who ate it feel unwell so animals would stop eating the plant. Now, these large animals are extinct and nobody touches these guys. Unfortunately, they've already evolved to stay paranoid. So all we can do is stay as far away from them as possible. In December 2014, an entire district in Budapest got covered with ice crystals. The trees in the area couldn't handle the pressure from the ice and they started toppling over. It was a spooky occurrence called ice fog. When it happens, the temperature drops significantly, freezing everything around, like Dementors did in the Harry Potter movies. All thanks to a temperature flip-flop. It not only messes with what you can see, but also creates ghostly pillars and halos that glow in the dark. Ice fog is made up of tiny ice crystals. When it's below 14 degrees Fahrenheit, water droplets in the air freeze and turn into ice crystals. Until then, they stay liquid unless they find something to freeze onto. Ice fog usually forms in chilly parts of the world, like the Arctic or Antarctic. Budapest was a plot twist. Hot, moist gases from vehicles and planes can also create ice fog. One plane takes off on a cold day and boom! There's so much ice fog that the next plane can't see a thing. That sometimes happens. It's not the same as diamond dust, which is when sparse ice crystals fall from a clear sky. It forms when the humidity is super high, nearly 100%, and the air temperature drops way below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. This creates ice crystals in the air, and they end up settling on different surfaces. Interestingly, early settlers thought these ice crystals could get into their lungs and cause some trouble. There are many other interesting ice formations, such as rabbit ice. It occurs when the air is chilly but the ground is yet to embrace the frosty vibes. The sap inside plant stems expands as it freezes, making the stems crack open. Once it happens, liquid slips out, meets the frosty air, and turns into thin layers of ice, creating beautiful petal or ribbon-like formations. Earthquake lights are another weird and unique phenomenon. When a powerful magnitude 8.1 earthquake hit Mexico in 2017, images of strange green and blue lights in the sky flooded social media. These so-called Mexico earthquake lights added another layer of mystery. Similar to ball lightning, earthquake lights are pretty rare. Fascinating, but tough for scientists to figure out. What makes it tricky is that the instances of luminosity around earthquakes don't all look the same. There are both theories and myths about this thing. The lights can appear in many different shapes, forms, and colors. Digging into history, researchers examined 65 accounts of these lights dating back to 1600 CE. For instance, on November 12, 1988, people reported a bright purple-pink globe of light along the St. Lawrence River in Quebec, just 11 days before a powerful quake. In Pisco, Peru, the lights took the form of bright flashes captured on security cameras before an 8.0 magnitude earthquake in 2007. And before a 2009 earthquake in L'Aquila, Italy, folks saw 4-inch flames of light flickering above a stone street. Yet, there are still debates about whether earthquake lights are real or not. The U.S. Geological Survey is a bit cautious, not sure whether individual reports of unusual lighting around the time and place of an earthquake truly represent earthquake lights. In one study, scientists theorized that these lights were caused by electric charges activated in specific types of rocks during seismic activity, like turning on a battery in Earth's crust. Some rocks, such as basalt and gabbro, have tiny crystal defects. They might release electrical charges into the air. Researchers estimated that the conditions needed for the creation of these lights existed in less than 0.5% of earthquakes worldwide. It could explain their rarity. They also noted that the lights tend to show up more often before or during quakes than afterward. An earlier study suggested that tectonic stress could create a piezoelectric effect where quartz-bearing rocks produce strong electric fields when compressed. Yet, studying earthquake lights is tough because they're unpredictable and short-lived. Time to talk about a sudden ring around the moon or sun. You're walking with a friend and suddenly see this sun halo. It's nature's warning. A snow or rainstorm is coming. These halos form when bazillions of tiny ice crystals in clouds refract sunlight. Resist the temptation to stare at this wonder directly. It can damage your eyes. Grab sunglasses and then admire it for about 40 minutes. Nature sends other early warnings too. If the sea mysteriously recedes, showing coral and fish, a tsunami might be on the way. Watch out for rip currents on the beach. Sharks might be fleeing a storm if they come unusually close. Feeling your hair stand on end and jewelry buzzing? Lightning might strike nearby. Seek shelter. Avalanches, green storms, and lakes near volcanoes are all potential dangers. Cross seas are extremely dangerous. Cave exploration during a full moon might cost you your life. If the ocean turns reddish-brown, avoid swimming. There might be toxic algae in the water. Animals sense disasters too. If they act strangely, pay attention. There's a fascinating blue glow around Matsu Islands on summer nights. It's caused by tiny glowing creatures. Tourists love watching this beautiful spectacle, but there's a downside. It's toxic and getting bigger each year, as revealed by a study. Despite its romantic appearance, this phenomenon is harmful. A team of oceanographers used satellite data to track its growth over 19 years. After analyzing almost 1,000 satellite images, they concluded that it was expanding into deeper waters. Unfortunately, this expansion poses a threat to marine life. The bloom of blue tears can poison fish and sea turtles and even affect human health. While dinoflagellates themselves aren't toxic, their food, toxic algae, releases harmful chemicals into the water. This process depletes oxygen, endangering marine animals. The main cause is unclear, but pollution from agriculture down the Yangtze River seems to play a crucial role. Agricultural runoff introduces nutrients that fuel the bloom. During the construction of the Three Gorges Dam project, the bloom's size reduced when the river's flow decreased. After the dam was finished and the river started flowing strongly again, the bloom resumed its growth. The team predicts that blue tears will keep expanding, posing an ongoing threat to marine life and creating more vividly glowing waters. A katabatic wind or drainage wind happens when dense cold air descends from a higher elevation down a slope due to gravity. These winds can be powerful, sometimes reaching hurricane speeds, but rarely. Unlike all downslope winds, Katabatic winds like the Bora in the Adriatic or Santa Ana in California originate from cooling air on elevated surfaces like plateaus or mountains. As the air descends, it warms up. Its temperature depends on the source region. In Antarctica, katabatic winds are crucial in shaping wind fields. In regions such as Greenland and Antarctica, these winds can become extremely intense, reaching hurricane force. They contribute to unique phenomena, such as the McMurdo Dry Valleys in Antarctica, and are associated with such dangers as willowas in the Fuegian Archipelago and Alaska. St. Elmo's Fire is a natural phenomenon worth mentioning. It happens during thunderstorms or volcanic eruptions when there's a strong electric field around the area. It creates a bluish or violet glow around such things as ship masts, airplane edges, or sharp objects. This glow is caused by ionized air molecules and is more noticeable in low light conditions. The glow is a form of plasma, and it happens when the electric field around an object causes the ionization of air molecules. This can occur during thunderstorms because there are high voltage differences between clouds and the ground. Sharp points make it easier for St. Elmo's Fire to occur because the electric field is more concentrated in those areas. The colors you see, blue or violet, come from the fluorescence of nitrogen and oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. Similar to how neon lights work, but with different gases. From ancient Greece to 15th century China, this phenomenon has been seen throughout history. When lightning flashes across the sky, it releases somewhere around 300 million volts, or the equivalent to power 25 million car batteries. Some say you're more likely to be zapped by lightning in your lifetime than to win the lottery. And statistics seem to prove this urban myth, as each year around 28 US locals do get electrically charged from the sky. The world's infrastructure can be affected by lightning too. That's because it generally seeks out the tallest structure around. But in certain conditions, it can also strike an open field. So scientists came together and invented a laser lightning rod that might help. This unique invention might make lightning strikes a bit more manageable, since it can guard a much larger area than the traditional one, and it's flexible. Classic lightning rods work like magnets for that powerful electrical charge. There are these tall metal devices placed on top of buildings. When a storm approaches, the rod provides an easy path for lightning to follow, preventing it from hitting other parts of the structure. The rod is also connected to the ground with a conductor, like a wire, helping the electrical charge to safely make its way into the earth. This process protects the building and the humans in it by directing the electrical energy away. We've been using lightning rods for the last 300 years, courtesy of Benjamin Franklin. But they're not damage-proof. When it comes to safeguarding vast spaces like airports, they can't manage. That's because they can only cover an area proportional to their height. Here's where this new, improved lightning rod can help. When the laser zaps the sky, it leaves behind a trail of superheated air called plasma. The same way a sculptor carves out traces in clay, the laser creates channels in the air. These channels then become the lightning's new favorite route, guiding it down to the ground. This new method was tested in the Swiss Alps back in 2021, and the results were promising. These lasers do have their own disadvantages. They aren't always available and need a heads up. That's because they have to be activated before a bolt hits. If you're a second too late, tough luck. Also, once the laser stops, the air loses its conductivity pretty quickly. This means the laser rod might not have enough power to guide the lightning safely. A potential solution might be monitoring the electric field around a certain area, predicting where lightning might strike. Yet, these new rods still need more testing and lots of funds. The European Space Agency found another way to make lasers useful: to turn moon dust into roads. It would make our future lunar exploration missions much easier if a laser beam could do the hard jobs, allowing astronauts to drive around the moon. This discovery might also help with another tricky issue: moon dust clinging to everything in sight. Roads on the moon might seem too much of a hustle for now, since we haven't been to our satellite since 1972. But when future space explorers will touch down again, they don't just plan to walk small distances. It'll be nice to have them driving around so they can explore larger areas. Problem is, that pesky moon dust is very fine, abrasive, and sticky. Back during the Apollo missions, it clogged up equipment, eroded spacesuits, and even caused a lunar rover to overheat. That's why scientists want to zap simulated moon dirt with a laser. This laser-powered project used a 12-kilowatt laser to melt simulated moon dirt into a solid, glassy surface, perfect for moon roads. The plan isn't to send a huge laser on the moon. This device they're testing here on Earth is like a stand-in for the sun, mimicking what lunar sunlight could do. The idea is to eventually concentrate sunlight using a big lens on the moon's surface. Some experiments have been done so far with different laser sizes, finding that a bigger beam made the whole process go smoother. Instead of dealing with tiny molten balls, they got a stable layer of molten moon dirt that's easier to work with. What they got was a glassy, somewhat brittle material that can handle downward forces. And even if it cracks, it's fixable. The laser beam was used to make triangle-shaped road parts that fit together like puzzle pieces, forming solid surfaces across lunar soil. If this goes as planned, we'll have moon roads made of interlocked triangles. This unique type of moon pavement could be the solution for landing pads too. Lasers can help piece together information on long-lost civilizations too. Discovering Maya cities has always been difficult for researchers exploring Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. For years, experts believed no early civilization could have thrived in that harsh environment. But advancements like light mapping technology and laser scans are showing us this might not be true. LiDAR technology can lend a helping hand for archaeologists, especially in areas that are hard to physically reach. That's because it's like we're equipping computers with a pair of eyes. The whole thing works as a flashlight, sending out small light beams in the form of a pulsated laser. These beams bounce off objects like trees and buildings and come back to the flashlight. LiDAR measures how long it takes for the light to return, creating a map of the surroundings. When a self-driving car or robot wants to know where it is, it uses LiDAR to send out these light beams. By figuring out how long they take to come back and where they hit, the car or robot can understand what's around it, making it safer for them to move around through the fog or at nighttime without bumping into things. With this technology, a team uncovered the massive Maya city of Acomtun. LiDAR technology helped researchers to map the jungle floor, revealing hidden structures. Yet someone still needed to verify these findings on foot. The journey to Acomtun wasn't extremely challenging. The region, quite far from the nearest airport, is mostly unexplored, accessible only through old hunting and logging routes. The dense terrain made the trek challenging, taking the team up to 2 weeks to cover just 30 miles. But the effort paid off, revealing monumental structures like a large acropolis and intriguing shapes hinting at a marketplace or cultural center. LiDAR is also used in rovers we'll need to explore other planets. This will allow the robots we send up there to navigate their surroundings without direct human indications. It's also helped us better understand the best location to place solar panels, making it cheaper and faster for us to meet our energy needs. We might also be able to use lasers to predict how a volcano is gonna act. These structures are loaded with magma, the molten rock sneaking upwards from the Earth's insides. When a volcano blows its top, a chemical reaction happens, transforming magma into what we call lava. The specialists behind this new use of lasers think of magma as the computer code of volcanoes. It reveals information on how a volcano might pop up. That's because not all eruptions bring lava, and even if they do, there are different lava types, depending on how runny it is. Magma is like a mix of liquid, gas, and crystals that are shaken up inside the volcano. There are many elements at play before a volcanic eruption, so it's hard to study and understand that complex chemistry. To organize things around a bit, scientists hit the cooled magma, the rock matrix, with a laser, just like the ones you might have encountered if you've ever had eye surgery. It makes the chemical components easier to study. This latest laser eye method was used on samples from a 2021 eruption, which lasted 85 days. It covered over 4 square miles, spewing loads of lava that wrecked over 1,000 homes and displaced over 7,000 people. To prevent such events from happening again, scientists need more data. It's true, earthquakes and ground shifts help specialists predict what a volcano might do, but knowing a bit more about its chemistry can help a bit more. In January 2022, a volcano eruption happened in the Tonga Islands that forever changed the way we understand GPS signals. This volcano caused a massive disturbance, sending out a colossal mix of gas and debris in the air. It generated a shockwave that traveled across the entire atmosphere, reaching all the way to Alaska, and launched a tsunami over nearby islands. Over northern Australia, it crafted a weird plasma bubble in the upper atmosphere, which disrupted GPS systems for hours. People that happened to be under this bubble and in need of precise GPS waited for ages before their device could receive precious information again. The exact place where these disturbances occurred is called the ionosphere. It's the place where our atmosphere meets outer space and looks like this buzzing layer where heat from the sun turns gases into electrically charged particles. It can also be seriously unpredictable, changing depending on the weather and thinning out when the sun's rays are less powerful. Because it's electrically charged, the ionosphere helps us with our communication needs. It houses many satellites, including the International Space Station. Here's how changes in the ionosphere can interact with GPS signals. Let's say you're playing detective with your friends and need to find them using a special radar. This radar sends out invisible waves through the ionosphere to locate your buddies. If everything is normal, you'll find their precise location in no time. Should those waves go through a place where the ionosphere particles are a bit messed up, the waves might slow down, get scattered, or change direction, confusing your radar. In the same way, when GPS signals travel through a damaged ionosphere, they can malfunction. Scientists have developed a way to fix this, like special sensors to anticipate changes in the atmosphere. The ionosphere is also sensitive to rockets being launched from Earth, not just storms and volcanoes. At first, astronomers believed these red patches they were noticing in the sky were similar to the northern lights found in Sweden, Finland, or Canada. But they soon figured out there were gaps in the ionosphere. Beautiful to look at, yes, but experts are worried that these crimson areas might be causing communication and astronomy problems that we've yet to discover. Since scientists don't know all the effects of these holes on our environment, it's best to steer clear if you see a red hole in the sky, just to be safe. But at least they seal up within 10 to 20 minutes. Mars has its own eerie set of lights happening in the atmosphere, and you'd think, since it's the red planet, these lights would also be red. Should you ever land on its surface, surprise! At times, the sky turns to a green glow. This unexpected hue could be very important for future Mars trips, since it can help specialists better understand the Martian atmosphere. Or what's left of it. That's because at some point in its history, Mars switched from being a warm and wet world to the cold, dry plains we know today. How is Mars slowly losing even what's left of its atmosphere? One popular theory is that Mars's weak gravity, combined with the fact that it doesn't have a strong magnetic field, lets the atmosphere escape into space. This vulnerability comes from the solar wind, a constant flow of particles from the sun. The sun's push over millions of years may have thinned out the atmosphere, grabbing the lighter parts. Some scientists suggest another possibility. A colossal impact by another object might have swiped Mars's atmosphere away. Studying this greenish glow is key to understanding what's going on the Martian atmosphere, a place satellites can't directly explore. Since we plan to visit this neighboring planet in the following decades, scientists intend to develop the perfect spacecraft. Knowing its atmospheric density helps us build machines tough enough to handle Martian drag, and we can design parachutes that gracefully descend to the Martian surface. See these amazing purples and greens lighting up the sky? That's not your typical aurora. It's Steve. First discovered by regular people, not scientists, some years back. We now know it's the aurora's more elusive cousin. Steve is short for Strong Thermal Emission Velocity Enhancement and was caught on camera back in 2018 by a bunch of amateur aurora chasers in Canada. They then brought it to the attention of NASA scientists. Here's how this is different from the aurora, starting with the appearance. Steve is more of a magenta streak, while the aurora is usually made out of green ribbons. Auroras happen when particles from the sun interact with the Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere, causing gases to emit light. Steve is thought to be a separate optical phenomenon that sometimes appears alongside auroras. While the exact mechanism behind it is still being studied, scientists believe it is linked with charged particles in the ionosphere that also interact with the Earth's magnetic field. Now that we know where to look, Steve might not be as rare. If you're planning to catch a glimpse of it, you'll need to travel to places where auroras usually happen, like Canada, Alaska, Northern Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. That's because it's never visible on its own. It's powered up when the aurora is extra bright during geomagnetic storms. Auroras can also happen on the sun too. These luxurious lights happen somewhere around 25,000 miles above a sunspot, a dark magnetic patch on the sun's surface. Astronomers have only recently discovered our own sun is capable of generating these lights. So far, they've only spotted aurora-like signals from faraway stars. Here on Earth, the aurora can last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, maybe even a couple of hours if you're lucky. On the surface of the sun, though, this phenomenon is a week-long display of intricate lights. Strange lights in the sky can also happen before an earthquake hits. Mexico had its share in 2017, lighting up the internet with pictures of weird celestial shades before a massive magnitude 8.1 earthquake. Some voices in the scientific community wonder if this light phenomenon is indeed connected to earthquakes at all. Others have this theory that such lights are caused by the release of ionized oxygen from the breaking of certain rocks. A photographer from Finland captured these shots of a circular rainbow display in the sky and wondered what might be causing it. It's something pretty ordinary: pollen. These colorful rings are called pollen coronas, and they happen when sunlight hits the pollen in the air at a certain angle. You can easily tell if you're looking at pollen coronas if they're accompanied by star-like sparkles. Those are individual pollen grains, and they come in many sizes. The process is very simple. Sunlight hits the pollen and scatters into different colors. Some colors get blocked or crash into each other, creating a pattern known as diffraction. The pollen in these images is from pine trees, and under a microscope, they look like tiny Mickey Mouses. Those ears are actually air pockets that help them float in the wind. The air sacs all line up in the same direction, creating the elliptical shape of the rings. For these coronas to show up, pollen levels need to be very high. An astronaut up on the International Space Station once snapped this picture of our planet, showing these two weird blue patches of light in our atmosphere. They might seem related to each other, but these lights are two different natural phenomena that just happen to be captured at the same time. The first one down at the bottom is a massive lightning strike that zapped somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand. Lightning is usually pretty hard to spot from way up there because of clouds, but this time it struck between them, firing up the walls around it like a luminous ring. The second blue blob up in the top right happened because of the moon. The way our natural satellite lines up with the space station lets the sunlight it reflects shoot straight through Earth's atmosphere. This turns it into a bright light with a fuzzy halo. It happens because some of the moonlight bounces off tiny particles in our atmosphere, making the moon look blue in this picture. That orange halo curving along Earth's edge is just the atmosphere. Food is essential, right? Good news if you somehow find yourself in the middle of the ocean, you won't starve there. Almost all seawater fish can be eaten raw, just like sushi. Parasites can't survive in salt water, so this fish is pretty safe. Sadly, you won't have any soy sauce to dip your makeshift sashimi into. You won't starve in the middle of the forest either. Inner bark from pine, aspen, maple, willow, and birch trees are edible. And while it's not as yummy as sushi, it's still okay. Plus, it contains vitamin C. Also, using pine needles, you can make fantastic tea that will warm you on cold winter days. Now on to the bad news. Eating snow is a big no-no. And it's not about the suspiciously yellow type of snow. Snow will neither fill your belly nor quench your thirst. In fact, eating it can lower your body temperature, and your body will also need more water to melt the snow than the amount you will consume, making you even more dehydrated. Right, even if you look for food in your own kitchen, it can still be pretty risky. When making delicious pastries, keep the flour away from the fire because it is a highly flammable substance that can burst into flames in seconds. It is 35 times more flammable than coal, so make sure it's in a safe place. There's one more cooking tip you gotta know. If oil catches fire, don't try to put it out with water, it'll only make it worse. Instead, you should throw baking soda on it if the fire is small. And if it's a bigger one, use a fire extinguisher. You can also put a lid on the pan. The oxygen will soon run out and the fire can't survive without it. Imagine you're walking near a lake or a pond with your dog, and you see a kangaroo in the middle of the lake. Whatever you do, don't try to help it, and keep your dog on a leash. Kangaroos do this when they feel threatened by a predator. And when the unlucky predator enters the water, the kangaroo can drown the animal. It has been reported that many dogs have been hurt this way, so make sure your pooch and you are safe. Stay on the bank. Hiking is fun, but there are many dangers lurking in the forest. I bet you've seen people on TV telling to suck the venom out if you've been bitten by a snake. But that's a terrible thing to do. The thing is, it can introduce harmful bacteria to the wound. Instead, you should calm down, lie on the ground, adjust your position so that your wound is below your heart, and call emergency services immediately. Or your friends should rush you to the hospital. In emergency situations, you can start a fire using your reading glasses. Align them with the sun and point them at some easily flammable material, like dried grass. Soon, you'll see smoke. If the glasses don't have high magnification, you can add water to the lens to enhance the effect. Never run away from a cougar, and don't make eye contact. Looking the animal straight in the eye signals that you're up for a challenge. Instead, try to make yourself bigger. Spread your arms, puff your chest, and start yelling at the animal. Dangerous insects are everywhere. Before you put on your shoes, give them a good shake because you definitely don't want your toes to meet with a spider or a scorpion. Rattlesnakes are known for getting into sleeping bags on hot summer days. I mean, you can't blame them. Everyone wants to escape the heat, so before you get into one, make sure there are no wiggly creatures inside. Also, a campfire can keep the snake away. You've probably seen movies where bees attack one of the characters, and they jump into the water to get rid of the insects. While it may look plausible, the reality is very different. The bees will simply wait for you to run out of air and resurface. These guys are really smart. If you fall into a frozen lake and can't find your way up, go to the darkest spot in the ice, which is usually the hole you've fallen through. Snow and ice reflect light and are usually much brighter than an opening in the ice. After getting out, don't try to walk. Slide yourself away from the hole like seals do. Swimming is a fun activity. unless you've fallen into a frozen lake. But rip currents can easily ruin your fun too. Should you ever end up in such a situation, start swimming parallel to the shore and you will be out of the current. To get some rest while swimming, arch your back to stay afloat. Position your hips up in a horizontal position. Relax, no tension. Pull your shoulder blades together and release chest tension. Stay relaxed for optimal performance and don't panic. If you don't know how to swim and you're not ready to shell out money to buy a life jacket, your pants have your back. They can be used as an actual life jacket. Tie them at the openings after filling them with air. Put them around your neck and you're good to go. Hope your pants are waterproof. Your pants won't help though if you see a drowning person. Your first instinct will be to jump into the water and help them, right? But if you don't have a flotation device, they will grab you and pull you under the water, putting you both at risk. So, the best thing to do is throw them something that floats, or help them get out using a stick or rope. Diving in dark waters can be disorienting, since it might be hard to find a way to the surface. Exhale some air. It's less dense than the water and will always float to the surface. Follow these air bubbles and you'll be safe. In a pinch, you can drink salt water, but first you need to dilute it 4 times because salt water is 4 times saltier than your bodily fluids. To put it simply, you will need 3 glasses of fresh water for 1 cup of seawater. Mix this all together and you can safely drink it. Salt water has many minerals that are good for you, but it can never replace fresh water, so drink it only if you must. You're on a beach and your legs are submerged up to your knees, but suddenly, you notice that the water is receding. You should run as fast as possible to the highest point you see, because that can be the sign of an incoming tsunami. Other signs are ground shaking and loud noises. You're not 100% safe even in your own bed. Imagine you're sleeping in complete darkness, but a strong smell of gas wakes you up. Don't turn on the lights. The spark from a light switch can light up the gas, making the problem bigger than it has to be. Don't use any form of light. Even your phone's flashlight can ignite the gas. Now picture this. A service dog approaches you on the street. You might want to pet it, but you should not do that. Stay still and don't move. Let the handler move the dog. If the handler isn't around and the dog is trying to get your attention, the handler might be in trouble, so follow the dog. You might save someone's life. Never post on social media when you aren't at home. Thieves can use this info to break into your home. This should be obvious, but many people ignore this advice. You can post your pictures of the beautiful beach you visited when you get back home.
Hollywood studios and game developers hire professional artists to create fantastic monsters and creatures from other planets. The things they paint on computers are stunning and frightening, but all these works pale compared to the art of the most powerful artist in the world. And this artist is nature. We're not talking about the beauty of animals and fish, but about animals whose existence is hard to believe. It seems they are literally guests from another planet here. One of these guests is the Brazilian treehopper. What you see now is a real creature living in the forests of Brazil. This insect belongs to the family of cicadas, some of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. But this species stands out strongly even among them. The size of a pea, the Brazilian treehopper has grown futuristic creepy balls on its back, similar to helicopter blades. Is that an antenna, or something for fighting with enemies? Scientists still don't know. There are only hypothetical versions. According to one of them, the insect uses this thing to demonstrate its genetic strength in front of females. Peacocks use their beautiful tails similarly. In addition to scaring off predators, they show off their plumage and propose their candidacy for starting a family. This theory was quickly refuted because not only males but also females of the Brazilian treehopper have this thing. Maybe these balls are like a false target. Some predator sees them and attacks them, and at that moment, the insect unhooks this thing and runs away. However, researchers have never seen such actions while observing the tree hopper. Another theory says that this thing helps the cicada pretend to be a cordyceps fungus. Remember the parasites that invade an ant's body, turn it into a zombie, and then a huge mushroom sprouts from out of their bodies? Some believe the Brazilian tree hopper imitates this fungus so that enemies are afraid to attack it. Yes, animals in the forest also know what can be touched and what is better off not to mess with. Or this hat may send signals to outer space or another planet, reporting information about Earth. Another fantastic feature of the Brazilian tree hopper is its way of communicating. These insects talk to each other through vibrations. When one tree hopper sits on a tree and feeds on juicy leaves, it can send vibrating signals along the trunk and, thus, invite its friends to have a snack. Or it uses this ability to warn about predators. In general, cicadas are pretty strange creatures. Those species that look like ordinary insects are still a mystery to all scientists. When cicadas hatch from eggs, they hide underground, feeding on liquid from the roots of trees and plants while growing. They build underground tunnels and hang out there for 13 or 17 years. And then, after molting, they come out all at the same time, several hundred or even thousands of insects at once. They fly into the air in a huge swarm, chirping loudly and terrifying all the animals around. People living nearby claim that the clicks of cicadas prevent them from sleeping. But why do cicadas come out only once every 13 to 17 years? What are they doing underground all this time? Scientists have no idea. Their sudden appearance may be associated with predatory animals. Cicadas are defenseless and nutritious creatures. Foxes and owls like to eat them. If cicadas got out of the ground once a year, predators would get used to it and soon destroy these creatures. Therefore, cicadas wait for a long enough time so that their enemies don't know when they will appear. In addition, insects choose the moment to show up when the populations of their enemies are at their lowest. Okay, after meeting this creature, you probably won't look at strawberries like before. So imagine a strawberry of white color from which 20 long tentacles spread out. It's as if a Lovecraft monster has opened a portal to our dimension inside a strawberry and is now trying to break out. The good news is that you are unlikely to see this monster near humans. The Antarctic strawberry feather lives in the icy depths of the Antarctic Ocean. These creatures are one of 4 types of crinoids, geometrically symmetrical animals that attach themselves to the seabed like a plant stem. Then, when they reach adulthood, they unhook themselves and set sail on the ocean. They use their tentacles to make beautiful rhythmic movements while swimming. And they also hunt plankton using their hands. Each tentacle of the strawberry is covered with thousands of tiny slimy threads that capture prey like a spider web. In addition to white species, scientists have observed purple and even dark red creatures. Looking at them, you start to suspect that many artists have stolen the image of crinoids to create monsters in their sci-fi movies and video games. Now, what do you think is the longest animal on the planet? This is not a giraffe or even some giant anaconda from the Amazon jungle. See this glowing long whip floating in the ocean? This is it. This creature is called a siphonophore. Its length can reach up to 130 feet, more than the size of a blue whale, the largest mammal on the planet. But if you look closer, you'll see it's not some sea snake. It resembles a long jellyfish with a transparent body and a light bulb head. Along its entire length, creepy threads stretch from the siphonophore. It looks like a mutant centipede from the depths of the sea. In any case, don't approach it. Its hairs are venomous. It uses them to fight off enemies and to capture prey. Disgusting, and at the same time charming, like me, the hagfish uses thick, sticky slime to defend itself from predators. This slug is actually a species of jawless fish. You may have seen this creature in social networks when people put it on their hands. When it senses danger, it spits out mucus resembling tree roots or a nervous system. The goo gets into the eyes and gills of enemies and stops them while the hagfish swims away. These animals are also among the most ancient creatures on the planet. They appeared about 500 million years ago and have been leading a scavenger lifestyle ever since. Even if you look at this tree for a few minutes, you may not understand what is wrong with it. But one of the branches is a live great potu bird that has mastered the skill of disguise better than anyone. Not only does its plumage allow it to merge with the environment, but it's also very patient and enduring. The great potu can stand motionless for hours, waiting for its prey. It even closes its eyes to be more inconspicuous. But that doesn't mean it doesn't see you. The bird has tiny holes under the eyelids that allow it to closely monitor the situation around it. Scientists spend millions of dollars to create expensive equipment to study seismological activity. But this mole that lives in swamps can detect seismic vibrations thanks to its strange nose. The star-nosed mole has more than 20,000 sensory receptors on its star that can also catch electrical signals emitted by its prey. It's one of those rare animals that can smell underwater. It releases tiny bubbles from its nose, then pulls them back in to understand the smell. And it's also a fast eater that spends less than a quarter of a second to swallow food. Piranhas look creepy with their jaws and razor-sharp teeth. But how about a fish that has rectangular human-like teeth? Meet the pacu fish, and it seems it has a false jaw. These creepy creatures eat plants and meat, but their favorite dish is fruits and nuts. Evolution has created such a shape of teeth so that pacu can grind fruits that fall from the trees growing along the Amazon streams. Many people confuse these creatures with piranhas and try to stay away from them. And this is the right decision, because these rectangular teeth can cause severe damage to non-food items, like you and me, too.
Look at this pretty creature. It looks cute and totally harmless. But you should know that appearances are deceptive, and the blue-ringed octopus is an extremely venomous species of octopus. In fact, they are one of the world's most venomous marine animals. These creatures are found in tide pools and coral reefs. Despite their small size, a mere 5 to 8 inches, they're very dangerous to humans if provoked. Their venom contains a powerful neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin. When the animal feels threatened, its first instinct is to flee. But if the threat persists, for example, if you don't give up the idea of picking the octopus up, it will go into a defensive stance and display its blue rings. If the octopus is cornered and touched, it may bite its attacker, and it can end very, very badly. Tetrodotoxin causes severe consequences, and sometimes results in total body paralysis. When the victim is fully aware of the surroundings but unable to move, the victim remains conscious and alert, but because of the paralysis, there's no way of signaling for help or indicating distress. Interestingly, in its chilling mode, the blue-ringed octopus looks brown or even pale, but once it feels endangered, it switches on its psychedelic pattern. Such a response is called aposematic behavior. In simple words, it's when an animal flashes bright colors warning others that, should they take a bite, they won't live to tell the tale. Of course, the blue-ringed octopus isn't the only dangerous animal that looks harmless out there. For example, look at this creature. This animal looks super cute, fluffy and soft-looking. The desire to touch it is irresistible. Watch out. The sting of the hairy caterpillar can pack a serious punch. It's called the puss moth caterpillar, or asp. Hidden among that luxurious fur, there are venom spines equipped with stinging cells like jellyfish. People react very differently to caterpillar toxins. Some may develop more severe reactions than others. Plus, how bad the consequences are also depends on the thickness of the skin in the affected area. In most cases, the unpleasant sensations and rash go away in a few hours or sometimes days. The next animal on our list is the poison dart frog. There are more than 170 species of these frogs, and funnily enough, not all of them are actually poisonous. Those which are secret extremely dangerous toxins through their skin. On the bright side, the frogs never use these toxins for hunting or attacking. They only have them for self-defense. Experts aren't sure, but they suppose that the frog's ability to produce these toxins might come from a diet rich in toxin-containing animals, for example, centipedes or ants. Indigenous peoples in Central and South America have been known to rub their arrows and darts on the frogs in order to give them a poison tip. The main thing you need to keep in mind: if you touch a poison dart frog, seek assistance immediately. Especially if you've come across the golden poison dart frog, it's the most toxic one. The flamboyant cuttlefish is the only known venomous cuttlefish species. This creature has incredibly poisonous muscle tissue, despite its tiny 2 to 3 inches at most frame. Watch out for a dark brown underwater animal with 2 tentacles and 8 arms. It's also likely to have purple and yellow around its arms. Anyway, your best bet is to avoid biting into one of these intriguing creatures, and you'll most likely be safe. Predatory cone snails are very slow animals. This is the main reason why they have no means to capture their prey mechanically. I mean, they can't really grasp another animal or bite it. Instead, the cone snail has evolved potent venom that helps it survive. Probably the coolest thing about these creatures is that among almost 1,000 species, there's no overlap in the toxins produced by each of them. Even though cone snails don't have fangs, they have a venom-covered harpoon they use to sting their prey. There's a tube-like structure at the end of a venom bulb, and a modified tooth can shoot out of the tube at a mind-boggling speed of 400 miles per hour. So being slowpokes doesn't actually bother cone snails. And since the venom is unique to certain species, some of them can deliver a minor sting, while others might cause serious harm to your health. For example, this reef-dwelling little fella unleashes a harpoon-like tooth to sting its prey, and there is no known cure for its venom. When you think of pufferfish, you probably imagine a bloated-looking creature with impressive 360-degree quills. But beneath those funny spikes, there is a vicious creature. And the most dangerous part of this creature is its poison, which is considered to be one of, if not the, most dangerous and potent in the world. The good news is that you won't get poisoned unless you eat the fish. So maybe better stick to the California roll. Now look at this insect and try to never approach it. It's the Japanese giant hornet. This monstrously sized creature, which can grow to be almost 2 inches long, is known to be highly aggressive. Its impressive stinger packs enough venom to make the sting very, and I mean it, painful. Some people don't survive being stung by this insect. Even though the venom isn't the most potent, the large size of the creature makes the dose too big. And if it's not one but several hornets attacking you, well, the consequences are likely to be dramatic. The giant hornet isn't necessarily unfriendly toward people or other animals, but it will sting if you provoke it. This truly beautiful bright blue creature is called the blue sea dragon. Despite such an imposing name, the critter is actually tiny, usually no bigger than a grape. You may find it on the beach or floating beside you in the water. Now, you need to remember one thing. However pretty this little slug may look, never ever touch it. Despite their tiny size, their sting can pack a punch, all because of their diet. Their favorite dish is the Portuguese man-o'-war, a jellyfish that has enough venom to paralyze small fish and crustaceans. The blue dragons first use mucus to neutralize the jellyfish's infamous stinging cells, and then they steal these cells from the man-o'-war's tentacles and store and concentrate them within their own tissues. Then they release these stinging cells on contact, which makes their own sting even more powerful, even worse than that of the man-o'-war's itself. These awesome creatures are also extremely sneaky. Even though their appearance is bright, to say the least, they're well-known masters of disguise. You see, that vibrant blue coloring is actually on their bellies, and when they float on their backs, they simply blend with the water. As for their backs, they're gray to camouflage these animals on the sea surface. The Irukandji jellyfish, found in Australia, looks tiny and totally innocent, but appearances are deceitful. And this baby, the size of a human thumbnail, is actually extremely dangerous. During stinger season, which lasts from November to May, tons of beaches get closed because of these itsy-bitsy creatures. What makes the jellyfish particularly dangerous is their miniature size. People simply fail to notice them while swimming. The infamous box jellyfish, named for its cubic body shape, lives in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Stay away if you spot a creature with a squarish bell and long, dangling tentacles. And even if you only see a single tentacle without the jellyfish attached to it, don't come close or touch it. The box jellyfish can grow up to 10 feet, and each of its tentacles has about 500,000 microscopic harpoons, to inject venom. Unlike other jellyfish, box jellyfish are hunters. They can latch onto you by wrapping their slender tentacles around your limb or body. With how dangerous their venom is, it won't be a pleasant experience.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.